issue. It's not an intelligence thing.
Okay. I normally debate with parents who say TV is bad for children.
No, my children watch TV.
Do you curate what they watch?
No.
Okay. A lot of parents are like, TV is bad for kids, and I understand where they're coming from. But then I do ask them, do you know that TV has a lot of educational content? It's just most people don't gravitate towards it. History Channel, National Geographic, there's business channels there, etc., etc.
Ziningi izinto ongazifunda, but it's kuhlala ngibukela iscreen man.
It's not for you.
Enye into.
You'd rather look at what?
I'd rather make friends.
Constantly around people?
No. Friends. Every author is a friend of mine.
So you're a reader? Yeah. Are readers leaders? Sorry, are we ready to hit?
Does water quench every man's thirst?
Usizwe doesn't read books, which means he doesn't quench thirst.
No. Water quench every man's thirst. Omunye umuntu prefer cold drink.
Cold drink anamanzi?
Yeah, omunye umuntu uthi yena amanzi awafiki.
They don't hit the spot.
Yeah, funeki black label.
No, I think we can hit. Today is hopefully going to be slightly more informal. And I think for the benefits of the audience, I know my audience is quite tired of the political content. I've been dropping quite a bit of it. But I felt like it was important. Because last year, myself, Debza, we sat, I think we also had chats with Amachitu, Khomutso, and Osizwe, trying to figure out, do we want to discuss politics? Or do we want to carry on having the type of content we have, which is having interesting conversations with very, very interesting people? And we thought the right thing to do with a platform is to educate where we can. And we made the decision to sit with politicians. So I've sat with maybe 13 or something here. It's quite a lot. But by the time this episode drops, which might be in June, July, we will be done with that. And we'll see where the country is at that time. But I know the audience is very tired. I'm tired myself because these people do lie a lot. These people lie a lot and they're here to campaign. And for me, their campaigning is mostly, they want to be the chosen people to sit with the rich that run this country, supposedly on our behalf. But the priority is I want to be the chosen person to go and sit with the rich mlungu.
I can do it better than the rest.
And then I have to try and get you guys pumped that I'm the guy. So it was just that on my side. Abba, Ayalew, Amlak, Grandmaster of Abba Khalipi Bokhanya, Usilo Samanzi. For a very virgin mind, what does that mean? And where does it come from? Because we're normally born Penuel lungelo mlotshwa, Sipho Buthelezi. So where does this come from for you?
Okay.
Welcome, by the way, to the Penuel show. I'm honored to have you. Sizwe claims that he's the reason you're here. He says he petitioned on unpopular opinion and the universe made it happen.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
Give thanks. Ngiyabonga, first of all, to be invited kule khaya leli. Nkosi yami. When I was born, I spent. Ngisixoxe le story. Okay. I spent 10 days in Ngenakam. So for 10 days, my mother didn't know what to call me. I was called Lomtwana. Everybody around used to call me Umtwana Yakal, Umtwana Ulambil, Lomtwana this, Lomtwana that, because I didn't have a name. And then after the period Jobudlezana, which is about 10 days, 2 weeks, abetswana bathi sitswetse.
What's Ubudlezana?
When a woman just gives birth,
okay,
they go in isolation. They don't see people and people don't come in. Only females of the family are allowed.
This is 10 days?
Yeah.
This is a cultural thing?
It's a cultural thing. So for 10 days I was kept home, but I didn't have a name.
Nameless.
Nameless. 10 days later, my mother took me a Kayakulu, my great-grandfather's house. And then that's the day I received my name. I was named Ubongani Inkosi. So that's my birth name.
That's one name. Bongani Inkosi.
Yeah, one name.
Hayi Bonkosi. Bongani Inkosi.
Bongani Inkosi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one name.
Thank the king, thank the God, thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Okay.
So
who gave you the name, sorry?
An old man who is no longer alive now, Uba Uzkali. I'm going to be a lot evasive with names and specifics for safety's sake. Yeah. But yeah, Uba Uzkali, he was the one who gave me this name, who actually, in a way, raised and mentored my father. So 10 days later, I received this name, Ubongani Nkosi. We fast forward now to Abba, Ayalew, Amlak.
Before we get to Abba, sorry, Sibongo Sagini, because we normally have surnames as well.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't subscribe to surnames.
Okay.
I believe Abantu Abamnyama never had surnames. Surnames were imposed on us by a colonial system to the point that many families separated and forgot who they are actually related to because of surnames. I'll give you an example. My mother comes from the collective group Yamapele. Kumampele ngukhuboni, umafungwenyu, udlambulu, unombikazi, unombuto, undaba ezethu, umpundu zingangiwa.
Aman.
That's my mother. Now, emapeleni now you have ibongo eziningi. You have Ontuli, you have Osompisi, you have Ombele, you have Omzileni, you have Omzila, you have Odibandlela, you have all these surnames, Ombuto, you have Omnomana, you have Omabandla. All these people now, they've forgotten Uguti, they're actually related.
Bonke Mapele.
Bonke, they come from the same. Andazi isintu sithethwa kangakanani apha ekhaya. But ngicishe ngathi bonke baphume esendeni elilodwa. All right. They come from the same source. Now, when surnames were imposed on us, separations started to happen. Ukuthi umbutho akasakhumbuli ukuthi uyahlobana nomnomana. Nomnomana akasakhumbuli ukuthi uyahlobana nosompisi, nosompisi kanjalo.
Yeah.
But thankfully, our forefathers were smart enough to say, okay, if we need surnames, we will use the names of the nearest ancestor we remember. So my mother's line, yay! Their surname is Mzileni. Because Mzileni is the father of their family line. Right? So Mzileni gives birth to Mtungata, Mtungata gives birth to Tofile, Tofile gives birth to Qikicana, Qikicana gives birth to Umzimkulu, who is my mother's brother. Now, that's the Mzileni family. But the Mzileni family has a brother family and another brother family. And unoktolu ukuthi yazi isintu sithi igazi liyajiya kunamanzi, blood is thicker than water. You find ukuthi umuntu uhlangana nentombi in a mall and you fall madly in love with this woman. You start a relationship with this woman. You make this woman pregnant. Makulethwa isisu kini salentombi. How puti? You understand? How puti kanjani? No, umkhulu ozala leli khehle elizala thina had a brother who was umkhulu ozala ikhehle elizala nina. This is basically one family. And this is where surnames mess up. That's why I don't subscribe to surnames.
Okay.
But who am I? Ndingumbona, umpandla, uchayengwe, utukude, umandlana, udlumvubu, ukhipha, utyeta, uqeqe, uwewe, isinqwazi semfene, ugasityeketye. That's who I am. That's my clan, my father's name. That's who I am. Ubongani is a title that they gave me. As you say, you would give thanks to the King, give thanks to the Lord for this gift. You must remember that our names are not only names, are prayers. Ngokwesintu, a lot of things, maybe we'll talk about it later on. But we've forgotten the meanings of igama, ibizo, libizo. What are you calling? Because it's obviously not Penuel that you are calling. It's not Ubongani Inkosi that you are calling. What is it that you are calling Monigu Muntu igama?
Not who are you calling? What are you calling?
It's not a who. What is the human definition of dimakato? It's not a human expression. It's an explanation of a human reaction. Nyamangala. Lengane udimakato. What is the human equivalent of umpo? Can I take you and give you as a gift to someone? Or can you give someone something as a gift? What is the definition humanly of usitembiso? Can you describe it in human terms? It's spiritual qualities. So what is it that you are calling by giving somebody a name? Like I said, for 10 days, I didn't have a name.
This is meant to be the meaning of names, not
meaning-
how we currently assign.
No. I'm not saying people should stay 10 days without names. It happened to me.
Oh.
My question is, what is the reason behind names? What is it that you are calling? So, when I came to be presented to in a public space, the name I received was Bongani Inkosi. It means my life duty, my life's purpose should be that people should find reason to give thanks to God, to the King.
Because of you as an instrument?
Because of my actions, because of my existence, my very existence. Okay. What is the purpose of human life? There's 5 questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why am I here? What am I here to do? And where I'm going after that. Everything in life is based on those 5 questions. Religions are based on those 5 questions. Traditions are based on those 5 questions. What we know as education is based on those 5 questions. Politics is based on those 5 questions. But we don't answer those 5 questions in any of these systems that I've counted. So, what is a name? Because your name has to be connected to these 5 questions. That's where your purpose in life comes from. That's where your duty comes from. Now, if you follow your name, a bad name is ominous, because everywhere you go, your name follows you. All right? So, Mandwa, everywhere she goes, she's confronted with conflicts, either external conflicts or internal conflicts. yakhe. Everywhere he goes, he's confronted with impi in any form, psychological, emotional, or physical. Yay! Ubongani inkosi. His life experience is a reason for people to say thank you. Not because of what I did, but because I exist. Right? Now, if you can answer these 5 questions, they lead you now to my next name, Abba Ayalew Amlak. In my search, growing up now, I grew up, my mother was a Christian, my father was a head of a church, a bishop, you know. I grew up Christian. 1999, no, 98, 97, 98, I'd already finished the Bible cover to cover. I'd already started studying extra biblical books. And this is all I know.
This was because of home and your parents?
Yeah, because of home and my parents.
Sure.
But nobody pushed it to me. I couldn't study school books. But funny enough, I could sit for hours reading the Bible or anything related to that. But I couldn't sit and read geography. I couldn't sit and read biology. I couldn't sit and read science and maths and all that nonsense. I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I was diagnosed with ADHD. I was diagnosed with autism and all these nonsense diseases. To the point where at school, I had to dictate my exams. So the teacher would sit there and read the question for me, and I would speak the answer, and the teacher would write what they believe is necessary for the question paper.
Sure.
Because instead of answering the question, I would ask a question in return. But I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand. Logically, it doesn't make sense. How can 1 + 1 be 1, but 1 × 1 be 1 and 1 × 0 be 0 at the same time? Such questions. So I had a problem with my maths teachers, to the point where I remember Mem Defender, she would say to me, don't even come to class. Take your table and put it outside.
Oh.
Yeah, because you're disturbing other children who want to learn.
Sure.
But when exams come, you're going to pass, and some of them are going to fail because you wasted their time. But I was the autistic one. I was the one who needed Ritalin.
You were on medication?
Yeah, for some time, until I kicked it off myself. Remember, my mother is a medical professor. She was a medical doctor. So from her perspective, I'm not normal. From her colleagues' perspective, I'm not normal. I've been to the best psychologists in the land, you know? And none of them could figure out what's wrong with me. And the only people who could figure out what's wrong with me, Big Rasta. Funny enough. So that's where I met to Abba Ayalew Amlak. In my searching, in my studying, in my reading, angna matric. I didn't do matric. Well, I did matric, failed matric, did it again and said, no, this is not for me. It was not for me, you know. So instead of carrying on with that, I went on to technical college. I did engineering. I got my diploma in engineering. I got a job. Yeah, got a job at 11 o'clock, worked the rest of the day, had lunch with the guys, and then came back to work, went home, came back in the morning at 11 o'clock the next day. I said, no, this is not for me. I quit. And I've never worked an engineering job again in my life. My diploma is somewhere in my house. I don't know where it is. I decided to hit the streets. Now, hitting the streets, I mean taking a sleeping bag, taking a couple of candles, and just go spend a week on a mountain alone. I did that a couple of times, fasting, studying, reading, meditating, studied different spiritual traditions around the world, was introduced to magic, and then I found my home. Everything made sense. No, I'm not crazy. I'm a magician. And then I found my home. And then I started to understand why I loved Charmed when I was growing up.
The TV show.
The TV show.
With the witches.
With the three witches, yeah. The Salem witches. The power of three will set you free, you know. Phoebe, Piper, and the sister, and Prue and Paige, you know, and the grandmother, and the white lighters, and the demons, you know. And then it started to make sense why I love these things, you know. City of Angels with Nicolas Cage, you know.
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan and Nicolas Cage. There's, what's this? With angels everywhere, man. Biz, with this old woman who is Gabriel. Biz. Touched by an angel, yo kanye. Hawu, wayiphika uyithetha. Unjani kanti touched by an angel, you know, about quantum leap, such things. Diamond, that's why ngithanda lezi zinto mos, you know. And then when your Dragon Ball Z's came out, you know, yeah, you know, studying chi and okay, this is human potential. Oh wow, I can actually achieve that. And then when I started studying magic, it all became real, you know. And then in my journeys, I met Umncedisi Ngumesha, who is now known as Abba Selassie. I meet him this week. Next week, he's getting initiated in the Rasta, in the Melchizedek order. And then when he comes back with a different name. That was weird for me. I met you this week, your name is Mncedisi. And then next week you come back, your name is Berane. Nigga, who are you? What's happening here? And then he explained to me, no, I started my initiations in the Melchizedek order. Oh, what's that? No, we're Rasta and but I'm still starting, I'm still new in this thing, I don't really know much. Come with me and hear for yourself. Yeah, and the roller coaster started from there. First visit, I got there, yeah, I blacked out. I fainted. I died, basically. My first time there. I was sensory overload. I was overwhelmed. Everything was just too much. Because everything I'm seeing around me is everything I've dreamt about. You know? Everything I see around me is everything I've seen, I've experienced, I've been longing for. And it's all here at the same time. It was just too much for me, and I just blacked out and woke up some time later outside with Uperanege sitting next to me. Unfortunately, ngoba bekumthwalo wakhe. Ngize naye, nobody else knows me. And then this thing, it got to me. And then I started going back again and back again. And then I first met my first teacher, who I think a lot of you know him, Tautau Aramanuba. That's where I met with him, and yeah, I was a student in his school under the mentorship of Abba Yemane Perane. May his soul rest in peace. And then I grew up there, you know. I got initiated, and that's where Abba Ayalew comes from. Now, Abba means father, right? It's a priestly title. Abba. Ayalew means secrets or mysteries or hidden things. Amlak means God. So my name means the secret things of God or the hidden things of God or the mysteries of God. My name is Bongani Inkos.
Yes.
Why? Because of the secret things of God. Was it coincidence that I became priest? Do you see the name thing again coming back? And the 5 questions: why, who, what, where. My name gave me my purpose. Me finding my purpose led me to the reason of my existence. My fascination with magic and secret things and mysteries led me to this point. And that was the name I was given.
Who gave you that name? And what language is it?
It's Amharic, Ethiopic. I was given that name by Tautau Haramanuba.
Okay. That was my first question. That's your first answer. Just okay. You come from what we call privilege. You say your mom was a medical doctor, your father was a bishop. You had access, when you speak about a Mrs. Deventer or Fenter or whatever, it sounds like a white teacher.
Yeah.
You speak about going to psychologists, you speak about Ritalin, being diagnosed with so many things. And, for the average black child,
that's far-fetched.
All those things are privileged things. If you're failing, teacher's not going to accept anything. And you're going to listen. Bongani, shut up. You're disturbing the kids. Privilege seems to come with its own issues.
Too much.
I find that in my experiences in life, the people that seem to have a great amount of illnesses, the women that are struggling with infertility, the people that seem to have a lot of psychological disorders, or what they call psychological disorders, are people that come from privilege. The idea of depression, in a discussion we've had with some people, seems to be a first world problem. When you're dealing with issues of indlala and playing outside, depression, what's that? You don't understand. Do you think you've done the introspective and retrospective work of figuring out why from a young age you are on this path of searching? Because it sounds like in reading the Bible to a point where you even disregard other books, you were just searching. And yes, you went to the places that people said there are answers, school. You went to places where there are answers, studying engineering. You went to places where they said there's answers, which is a job. And you're like, I'm not finding any answers. And I don't know if you found any answers in the Bible, or even if you did after reading it, you weren't satisfied to a point where you went into nature to go look for answers. And eventually someone said, let me take you to another school and another place with answers. And you found a home there. Why do you think you were searching? Because there's a lot of kids that feel lost. There are a lot of adults that feel lost.
Okay. Privilege. That's the biggest answer. That's the only answer I can give you. Privilege. But I won't give you a one-word answer. Let me just try and expand it a bit. Why privilege? My father was the first black medical specialist physician in South Africa at Wits University.
This is the bishop?
Yeah.
Your parents were learned, Baba.
My mother was the first black female specialist physician in South Africa. Okay.
Would you like to give them shout-outs? Or you don't want to mention their names?
They both beyond the grave.
Sure.
Unfortunately, just buried my mother last year.
I'm sorry about that.
Buried my father a couple of years ago in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Professor Mokiana Olkamzileni, my mother. And Uchayingwe, my father. His name is precious to me.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is very, very precious. It's my secret weapon.
No problem.
But he knows. I acknowledge him everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having parents like that, and amongst them too, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Amongst my mother and father, I'm the only son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between my mother and father, I'm the only son. I'm the only son between these two giants. I'm expected to follow suit. And everything in me rebelled against the pressure that was put on me to exceed their expectations. Everything in me rebelled. Let me correct this. Not even correct this. Let me lay it out. I don't have a matric certificate by choice, not because I was stupid. In fact, my teachers and my principals still nanamhlanje, yeah, very close, very tight relationship. Just that school was not the place for me to find myself. I was the first kid in South Africa, well, in my neighborhood, Langa's Corner, who had a PlayStation growing up. I was the first with a lot of things growing up, you know?
Are you a Joburg kid?
No, Pretoria kid.
Okay.
Yeah, Pitori, Mahlanyi area. All the time, Soshanguve.
Sure.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. I was the first amongst many kids with a whole lot of things. My friends used to go to local schools. I'd be taken to town, to a multiracial school. When Mnet came out, I was the first to have Mnet, so my house would always be full of guys watching Mnet. You know, when DSTV came out, when this came out, when Golden China, the TV boy came out, you know. But in all of that, I realized, Uguti, we have all of this here. But in that family, badli papa na mautwana, and they are laughing through supper. Everybody's sitting there watching. Bekusadlala itori leso sikhathi, you understand? Oh, lisilo rula, oh, kyala lamawele, and all of that.
Ohlala
Ohlala you know. But this family is all sitting together eating chicken feet.
Laughing.
At home, we eating steak, we eating this, we eating that. But my sisters are in their room. My mother's locked up in her bedroom. I'm with this cousin sitting watching TV. We hardly know each other. And do you get what I'm saying? What's it about chicken feet?
It must be the chicken feet.
It must be the chicken feet and pub. Not the spaghetti and mince nonsense we eating here, because it doesn't keep us together.
Yeah.
And then I started gravitating to those type of friends. The friends where I would deliberately go to their homes to experience what people call poverty. Growing up, I'd consciously taken the decision to spend 2 weeks in the streets with street kids. When the Mazda 6 first came out, my mother was one of the first 6 people who had it. At that time, I chose to be a street kid. No, I just took clothes, let them put on blue overalls, took a plastic and went to the streets. And got a few boxes and got to know some guys and lived with them. All of that was in an attempt to understand their side of life and their mentalities and why they do the things they do. Today, when I meet street kids and I meet people in the streets begging, I pass. I don't do useless charity. I don't do that.
Why not?
Because I know why they're doing it. I lived with them for 2 weeks. omunye bekakhuzwe ekhaya hayi ayenziwa lento hayi mina ngeke ngizozwa ngani wahamba uzihlalele estradeni. Omunye umama akafunanga kumthengela iAll Star. Ngizokubonisa ke mama mina ngiyozihlalela estradeni. So
Did you ever beg in the streets, or you were just chilling?
no, I was chilling.
And then
with
you'd go
them.
back to the spaghetti and mince?
No. Hustling.
Sure. But not begging.
No. I never begged.
You don't, we might be the same. You don't believe in the concept of begging?
No.
You seem to frown upon it.
They know me. I hate beggars. I hate dependents.
Yes.
I hate waiters.
Waiters?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
As a concept?
As a concept. Not waiting in a restaurant, but people know I'm still waiting for something to happen.
Oh, okay.
You don't sit with me and talk. There's nothing I'm going to listen from your mouth.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? You've got hands, you've got feet, you've got a brain that is active. You've got chi, Ra. The so-called Egyptian god Ra that people do ceremonies to. No. Ra is the life force in your body, energy, the chi. Why can't you do it? Hi, I want $1 million. Yazi siyahlupheka ngithi. Okay, you really want $1 million? Uyadla every day ngithi. So instead of eating ipapa nenyama negravy, idla ipapa negravy, eliminate inyama. Uthathe yonke le mali yenyama uthenge ipacket yama sweet. Yabona lama chocolate sweet lawo.
Sure.
Yeah, and sell those for R1 each. When you are done selling 1 million of those, how much do you have?
You'll have 1 million.
Ukhalela bani ke? Who are you begging?
By the way, I think begging should be criminalized.
It should be.
To be honest, because I
Nalabo
think
mama bahlala
it's a
nengane
problem.
estradeni.
They should be the first.
They should be the first to be put in prison.
That's a form of child abuse,
It's
and
child abuse, child negligence.
and it's emotional and psychological abuse to us who are driving past.
But lo mntwana makakhula la.
Usejwayele
Ujwayele
mos.
ukuthi yena yonke into iza kuye makade.
100%.
Mongamniki angeke ayithathe ngenkani.
Has to at some point when he's desperate.
Okay. So
But you and I come from privilege, so we're not allowed to speak.
no,
You went to a
that's the
multiracial
thing.
school.
That's the thing. Bazothi, he speaks like this because his mother was a
He
professor.
doesn't understand.
His father was this and that. No. I've actually taken the time to consciously live in the streets. And I understand why the people in the streets. And unfortunately, it so happens that my first wife, she's a social worker. Umama ingane zami. And every time she comes back home nalama cases soxoxa uyazi uzoxoxa nobani pillow talk yethu ukuthi hey yazi emsebenzini ubani wenzani. And then you realize ukuthi no man, it's a pattern here. Le ingane azifuna ukukhuzwa emakhaya. That's why they're in the streets.
Do you believe in human rights?
What's that?
It means everyone has a right to life and a certain quality of life as a basic,
According to who?
according to the people that make decisions at the highest levels in this world.
Can I speak
Arguably
French?
the UN and then come down.
Can I speak French?
I think this platform allows French and any other language you want.
Fuck them.
I ask this in the context of there are people that make certain decisions that have certain consequences,
Fuck them.
but don't want to own the consequences. And you
You know
must
why?
you must come in and
If you're
cushion.
going to, you must understand what is a human being. Now, with the elements of spirituality come in. I'm a priest, Ning Olel. What is a decision? It's not an execution. It's a culmination of what?
thought, maybe.
But thought doesn't float alone.
Okay, circumstance. I don't know.
Circumstance is symptom of an expressed thought.
Okay.
So we have not gotten there yet. Yes, thought. What else? Feelings, emotions. Now, you have thoughts, you have feelings, right? Thoughts affect the upper part of your body, from your heart to your crown, so-called chakras.
Okay.
Yay! It affects from your heart going up to your crown. Those are thoughts. Feelings start from the heart going down to your so-called root, right? A decision is based on where you vibrate as a human being. Let's take the UN and the people who are making decisions on our behalf. They're making their thoughts, their decisions based on the feelings, the lower part of the human conscious spectrum. That's why they have soldiers, military, because on the root chakra vibrations, you have your fears, your insecurities, all of those things that need you to defend yourself, to protect yourself. It's a very low animalistic vibration, right? But on the opposite side, you have, I don't want to say Dalai Lama because nabo labantu laba ba famous be spirituality nabo. They're just posing agents, you know? But on the spiritual side of things, you get a person who's based on thought. Now, thought is categorized into three aspects: forethought, thought, and afterthought. Before you think, while you think, and after you think. And all three of those put together are the thought process. Now, it means you are looking, it's circumventive thinking. You are looking at the decision as it comes, you are looking as it happens, and you are looking as it's going to happen. Past, present, and future. You are looking at everything from a complete perspective. Now, people who make decisions like that won't put a soldier to come and say no to you who is trying to get food. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
You are trying to get food. I send a soldier to come with you with a gun. That's a low vibration. That's not a solution. Because now what you are going to do is you're going to find a way to make bulletproof for yourself. You're going to find a way to arm yourself now so that you can protect yourself from the person who's stopping you from getting food. Now we have a war. But if I was thinking using the higher faculties of my brain, I would have sent someone with a plan to generate food for you. Right? There was a clip lana bayihlekisa labangithumela ku WhatsApp of some politician. You don't give a man the fish, and he was trying to say that. But basically what he was trying to say is, if a man says I'm hungry, don't give him a fish. Give him a fishing rod and teach him how to fish.
Yeah.
So if I was using the higher faculties, I would have taken somebody and said, oh, this man's hungry. Lalelage. Simple thing. Soweto. Masingathi Soweto. I don't know Soweto that much. But ilogish esiyaziyo. Just logish. Any logish. One block. Right? Plus minus how many houses in one block? Ekas. How many families there?
You are, 10, 20, more.
More.
Depends on how big the block is.
It depends on how big the block is. Let's say ilama block city Diepkloof yonke.
Okay, that's
How
a
many
lot.
people in Diepkloof?
Maybe 500 families. Yeah, I don't know how big Diepkloof is.
Yeah, let's say 500 families.
Sure.
A rough number. So these 500 families, employment rate in Janlap.
Diepkloof is a bad example. But any normal kasi, there's high unemployment.
High unemployment. Right. Now, the few who are employed, and high unemployment, but every household manages to get bread every day. Right?
That's correct.
If these households would each come together and put together 100 rands, 200 rands, 500 rands, each house at Diepkloof into a collective account, right? After 2, 3 years, 5 years, how much is in that account for the people Basit Diepkloof? How many businesses can be opened for the people Basit Diepkloof? How much employment can be made? No, but we're waiting for the government. And the government is busy stealing billions of rands every day. So that's never going to happen. Do you understand? If we were using the higher faculties to think, we would be looking at that possibility like the Muslims are doing, like the Jews are doing, like the Rothschilds are doing. Generating funds for ourselves, loaning it to ourselves, interest-free, and paying it back to ourselves to expand ourselves.
Sure.
We can't do that because we are forced to think on a lower vibration. That's what decisions are. Are you dying or are you ascending? It's die, ascension, decision.
Jeez.
And people are going to say I'm crazy for this, but think think about it.
Kodwa baqinisile uphe Sangomas. They're not lying.
And
they might be right ukuthi uyahlanya as well.
And kakhulu-ke lapho. But think about it. It's either you die or you ascend.
Decision.
That's what a decision is. And the world is in the state it is because of bad decisions.
Manje wafela kanjani umatric fethu when you're so smart and you speak such good English?
Because matric was not a priority to me.
Your thoughts on autism and the spectrum, your thoughts on dyslexia, your thoughts on ADHD, your thoughts on medicating children if they don't fit within a certain box and behave in a certain way.
Show me one psychologist, psychiatrist that has cured somebody and I'll believe those words to be true.
By cure, you mean there's something wrong with that person?
Since they say it's something wrong, right? For the fact that you label a child autistic, you are saying there's something wrong with that child.
Correct.
Show me somebody who has healed it, and then I'll believe that it's true.
Do you think we're still suffering from the Industrial Revolution?
My second wife, Umamtembu.
Mawuthi first, second, you mean washada, wadivorca, noma mhlambe
Ka intombi ekhaya ilahlwa.
sibonge.
Umamtembu.
Sorry, you've got two wives.
Umntwana ababalwa kuzona inkomo.
Please continue, sir. I will hold my tongue.
She's a psychologist.
Nabo bayazi ukuthi ababalwa, ukuthi abasize inkomo noma bona bayabala. But hey, yini kwasase sibaningi manje?
Ama insecurity wabo ke lawo ngeke ngwalaphe mina. Awukho umuntu insecurity. She's a psychologist.
Yeah. Social worker, psychologist.
Yeah.
You're very big on the thinkers and the people that deal with human behavioral.
I think it's energy. It's attraction. I am that I am, so I attract that which will reflect that I am.
Okay.
You know?
Second wife is a psychologist, sorry.
Yeah. And then umakhatebe ilobo khuluma naye ke.
Okay.
Organize this meeting.
Siyabonga, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, in the psychological space, you'll realize ukuthi they are still trying to break through. They're still trying to understand the human psyche. But what they don't understand is the very word psychology. So because they don't understand what psychology means, they approach it totally wrong. What is a psyche? What is the human psyche? Psyche comes from a Greek word meaning soul. So you're not dealing with the brain or the mind or how it operates. You are dealing with the soul. So what is a soul? The soul is an accumulation of past, present, and future memories. That's what your soul is. Every human soul, every human psyche is born at the moment of birth, and it can die while you are alive. Or it can wait for the death, and it either dies or ascends. So every decision is based on your soul experience. Now, soul experience spans over thousands of years. Unless you believe this is your first time in this world, then you'll believe that you have a short life to live, you only live once, die young, and have a beautiful corpse. You'll believe that. But if you believe that this is not my first time here, then your soul experience extends millennia. And this is why you make the decisions you make. This is why you make the choices you make. This is why you like the things you like and you dislike the things you dislike.
And have allergies you know nothing about.
You have, exactly. Because it's
and deja vu.
And deja vus and premonitions
and dreams.
Postmonitions and dreams and all of that. It's because your soul has an extended period of existence in this world. Now you'll ask me, when did my soul start existing? When God first said, let there be light. You were part of that decision to say, let there be light.
Does that make me God?
I know Christians will scream blasphemy, but there is no God beyond me, besides me. I am the only God.
My consciousness is the reason there is existence.
Nothing else.
Without my consciousness, there is nothing.
What else is there?
There's a beautiful short story called The Egg by Andy Weir, for people that have never read it. I hope they'll go read it. It speaks about a man who's been in a car accident and died. So he wakes up in this abyss with a being there. What happened? You were in a car accident, you died, etc. Fast forward, they take a walk and they chat, and this person's trying to figure out, where am I going? Is my family okay, etc. And this person or this being says, I come from a certain world that you won't understand, and there's many of us that are like me, but I'm here to help you get to the next life. It's like, oh, so reincarnation, yes, definitely. Also, the Buddhists were right. It's like, oh no, everyone's right in their own way. What's important in that story is the being says, I'm going to send you back in time to be a Chinese peasant girl. And this person's like, you're sending me back in time. And this being says, no, time is just a concept and construct in your world.
It doesn't exist.
And it's like, but what if I bump into a future form of myself there? And it's like, oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? And this being says, every being you've ever encountered in life is you, in different incarnations at different times. And the reason you are experiencing all of this is because I want you to mature.
But this is why you make sense when you speak to me, because I'm not actually listening to Penuel. I'm going through my own thoughts.
Correct. And this person's like, so what's the point of it all? It's like, you are in an egg and you must go through all the different incarnations until you've reached a certain point. Then you will be ready to join me.
Okay.
And other people
Let's
like
put it
me where
into
you come
perspective. You know, a lot of people say, but mina ang fun now. I fun now. But no, my situation is different. All those people are avoiding the truth. And those people, I like to put them in this category. Besides, forget about the ad hominem syndrome people abazigulelayo. Ngoba sokhuluma ngamanzi thina sithi, and this has been a joke about me for past year. But siyamazi lo dawa insang othi amanzi is not water. Now, amanzi.
Awusilo samanzi.
Amanzi. It stands still. It finds perfect equilibrium. It finds its own balance. Amanzi. Do you hear the words? Meaning, it finds its own balance. Amanzi. Amanzi. Amanti. Ime ema metsi. Ematsi. It stands still. You can shake it, you can boil it, you can do whatever you want. Does the word water mean the same thing? Water describes this. What is water? No, it's H2O. What is amanzi? Amanzi. Shake it, it's going to stand still. I. Hayi udakwe insango.
Yeah, it must be in song, of course.
Ad homonym.
Uthakaphasanga nasesikoleni, of course.
Kudakanayo ne-matric.
Nazo.
Ad homonym. Uhlule ukucabanga. Unedemon lokucabanga. Liyavilapha. Metsi. Emitsi. Water, H2O. Asikhulumi ngento efanayo. Now, before we get to that, we need to understand what is intelligence. Yini ubuhlakanipha?
I don't know if these are rhetorical questions or if I must answer. Because intelligence is obviously based on who you asked and their definition of whatever they were taught.
So by so saying, intelligence is regurgitation.
That's the standard in the world we live in today.
Yeah.
Your ability to memorize or to
Do you see
download
why I don't have a
based on
metric
who,
certificate?
memorize and then regurgitate in a specific format that is pre-described.
That's why I'm metric. Because for me, intelligence akusukuphalaza. Angifuna ukuphalaza ikhona intolwane endumbeni ngimixe emanzini ngiyavuka ngiyakapa. That's not intelligence. Intelligence is conscious innovation, constant evolution. Conscious innovation, conscious evolution, practical application.
Ngikhumbula uZuma isinikeza i-definition ye-science. Konje wathi nomsholozi, that's another guy who didn't pass school.
That is
Something
what
about the definition of
is.
science is the what of the what. Systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and the testing of theories against the evidence obtained.
Nakho. That is science.
Hey, why you trying to Zuma that one? Hey, just to get the people going.
That is science. That is intelligence. It's a conscious application, a constant evolution, and a practical application.
Which is why people with degrees and diplomas today are sitting at home, struggling, unemployed, poor, waiting
my mother,
for
a
an
medical
unemployment grant.
professor, Ushonile, we buried her December. She was surrounded by all the top doctors, her students, by the way, and none of them could do anything for her. Ubulewe stroke, mama. Her fourth stroke. She had 3 strokes before that, and I had healed her on all 3 strokes with crystals and acupuncture at home. This one time, because these doctors said, no, let's just take her to make tests, we promised to bring her back. They didn't bring her back. 2 weeks later, my mom died. And my question to them was, what are you doing? No, we are still making tests. I'm not blaming the medical faculty for my mother's death. I'm saying less tests, more accuracy. I did it 3 times with crystals and acupuncture. You failed to do it once with all your equipment. The people with their diplomas and their PhDs, permanent head damage, ungangitsheli ngalabo bantu abafundile bafundisiwe akusiyifundiswa.
Someone was giving me the difference between medical care and healthcare.
Exactly.
And the idea that doctors study medicine because more than anything, they are pushers of medicine. Pushers of drugs.
They're pharmaceutical slaves.
Medical care is what you get when you go to a doctor clinic. Healthcare is what you do on your own.
What you get at home.
Taking care of yourself, what you eat, how you...
and give it your love. Put your child on top of your heart and put your right hand on top of their head and make a magnetic circuit. Ayisenziwa leyo nto. Angithi sinamaneni. Abantwana bethu bakhuliswa amaneni.
Of course.
And ineni yenzani is doing a job.
Yes.
Okay.
How important... I know I had a whole lot of other points to raise, but in the interest of streaming live consciousness, how important is a rebirth for every person? And does it require either being an initial reject like yourself? I think you were kind of blessed that you were a reject from birth. Or does it require a disruption in this supposed journey and rat race we were meant to be on? So contrary to you, I did very well at school academically, sports, everything. I ticked the boxes, distinctions in matric, got to varsity, got my degree, went to go and work in corporate. And then at some point in corporate, I decided to go and start a business. And big parts of my consciousness were firstly tertiary, being exposed to books on history, spirituality, etc. And then later on failures, business, heartbreak, not having things my way in this sort of world, to a point where it felt like my mind was breaking and I had to rebuild it. And I think that's happened 3 times. To a point where I understand the journey of a mind that maybe someone else who's winning in life, a Barack Obama, maybe won't understand. So whether it's from initial, where you don't fit in the box, or later on where something you get divorced, someone you care about passes away. We see a lot of people say, whatever, and we'll discuss that later. but things are not going that way. How important is it for almost every human being to go through a journey of rebirth, and then after rebirth, how important is it to either be given or to select a new calling for yourself? What you're saying, your name, to say, no, at birth, because my parents were in whatever space. At some point in my life, I went through a journey, being in the streets, going on the mountain, meeting a Rasta. I believe I was reborn like a phoenix. And as I rise, I cannot be my old self. And I now need a new. How important are those two things?
Okay. Let's look at nature. One single tree has how many names? There's the seed, imbeu, right? You put it underground. Guphuma ini, impande, second name of the very same plant. Guphuma ini, isihlumelo, the first shoot. Third name.
So we're speaking seed, we're speaking root, we're speaking seedling or sprout.
Third name for the very same plant, shlahla, because now it's starting to grow. Hlamvu, it's starting to leave. Amo, it's starting to flower. But it's the same plant. So every stage in life has a different name. You can't be the same person always. You can't. Here's the thing. If I say to you now, close your eyes and don't think about a banana, what's going to happen?
I'm going to think about a banana.
That's the first thing you're going to think about, because I suggested it to your brain. Now, if I'm going to suggest to you under a ritual ceremony or under a life crisis, like you get into prison, uyaboshwa. Igama lakho uThabo, uyaboshwa. Ufike ejele bakubhayizisa amajita. Bakubhayizisa amajita ugcina manje ubona ukuthi okay, solution ukuthi uthi ngijoyine ngiphakamise nami ngibe insizwa. Awusase uThabo ke manje so uThibosi. Thibo Tash, Thibo wabantwana. You understand?
Yeah.
You walk differently. You think differently. You speak differently. So ashala mbomba manje. Awusakhulumi. So uyaringa. Awusathethi. So uyahwacula. Awusacabangi. So your whole character changes. Your whole personality changes. Your whole consciousness is directed to another direction. Here's the thing about consciousness. Energy flows where attention goes. So if I pay my attention to that, all my consciousness is going to try and make sense of that. And all my thought patterns are going to be based on that. This is where the importance of going through certain things and then leaving what you went through behind. Now, to answer the first question, does everything come from a traumatic experience or a painful thing? All pain comes from ignorance. All pain comes from ignorance. No matter what type of pain, heartbreak, whatever pain comes from ignorance. All pleasure comes from knowledge, right? At some point in life, I was ignorant of many things that I know now. And that created the experience of pain. But because now I have the knowledge of the things I was ignorant of, now I have the pleasure. Was it the pain or was it the ignorance that created that experience? Because once there's knowledge, ignorance goes away. The pain goes away. because now you have knowledge, you have an understanding of what's happening. So now, at some point, I used to think my mother was unfair to me. She was too hard on me. Yeah, she wants me to do this and this. And then in my rebellion of that, I encountered pain. But in my pain, it led me to knowledge. And that knowledge turned to pleasure, because when my mother passed away, we were not fighting anymore. In fact, my mother was one of my students. I baptized and initiated my mother before she passed away. You know? From the pain of ignorance to the pleasure of knowledge. So what is pain? What is pleasure? The difference between the two is just knowing and not knowing. So if you would take the effort to know, you would realize that pain is an illusion. Pain, Buddha says, pain comes from not wanting to let go. All suffering comes from attachment. All suffering comes from attachment. If you take this bottle of water now, I have a choice. I could spend the rest of the day complaining about it, or take this bottle of water and drink.
Attachment. Suffering.
That's why we suffer. So, yes, knowledge comes from pain. Yes, knowledge comes from pain, because pain comes from ignorance, and in order for that to stop, you need knowledge. So, in order for you to come out of a situation, you ask questions, you search, you read, you ask people. The last teacher I sat with, like I said, I had my first teacher, Utautawa Ramanuba. After that, I did what I did there, and I left the school, left it behind. Hence, I say I'm not Rasta. I started off as Rasta. I'm not anymore. Ngifundile ngiqedile. Like ngise tertiary, can't matric last year.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Rasta ngidlulile kubo. People say Rasta, but okay. Yeah. Please go on.
For you, it was just a phase of your life.
It was a phase in my life. You know, it was a school I went to, ngandlula kuleso skolo, and I went to another school in the Free State under Ubaba Uverksman Nkonka. You know, no, before Uba Uverksman Nkonka. Yeah, before my encounter with Tautawa, I started at Kara Heritage with Matule Mutsecha and Dr. Koka, and studied Kara Heritage knowledge there. And then from there I moved on to Rasta, and then from there I went to the Free State, and I studied under Verksman Nkonka, who was at the time, well over 112 years. But he'd tell you every year that he's 97. But he died at about 114. Yeah.
Jeez, he was an old man.
He was an ancient man. Strong. He walked on his feet. I didn't go to him for my lessons. He came to me. And he'd be there at 7:30 every morning without fail while I was still asleep. And he walked. He fit as a fiddle. He was strong as a horse at that age, you know. And then when he finished initiating me, he told me, he came in the morning once and said to me, I had a dream, Ingati, you are in a place called Mpumalanga. He's never been there. But you are in a place called Mpumalanga, and you are giving people food off a truck. So I want you to pack now because you finished here, and go and find this place in Mpumalanga. And that's how I got to Mpumalanga, and I met my other teacher now, Unukumkani Tiki, who initiated me ubugqirha besiXhosa. Ngathwasa isiXhosa ke lapha eMpumalanga. And funny enough, Umam Tiki, she's a farmer. She has a farm of vegetables. And I went there to study, but I had a group of people that were with me that I had to feed with the vegetables from this woman's farm. So the old man's dream came true.
Yeah.
Kulanga thwasa khona isiXhosa ke kumamtiki. So I moved from there. It was Matule Mtsekh. I got from there. I moved from him. I went to Mamtiki from Uverksman Nkonka, and then I went to Mamtiki ngafunda isiXhosa. After that, I came back. This is my searching now. I'm searching for knowledge. I'm searching, After Mamtiki privilege, traveled to Israel, got initiated in the Benai Birinth, the Kabbalah Society. On my way back, went to Egypt. And then, I met Mutasen, who made me starve in the desert for 2 weeks. And then I came back home. Ngathwasa isishangani, ngathwasa isipedi neSizulu. And then I opened a school, Abakali People Kanya. And I've been doing that ever since. So the pain does lead you in a certain direction, but it's the search that fills up the gap and it puts things into perspective. You cannot be the same person. If I could tell you my names, in Israel I'm known as Abu Samran. In Egypt I'm known as Heru Sekem Ankamun. Emarastain I'm known as Ayalew Amlak. Ebunyangeni I'm known as Usilo Samanzi. Estratini nguCharlie Coupe wabantwana, like
Charlie Coupe wabantwana
ungayeke ke leyo. We won't get into detail.
ekhaya ubongani inkosi.
So now every phase in my life has a different name. So is it important to change your name? Yes, it's important, because every stage in your life has a certain lesson behind. And you cannot use the consciousness of your previous life when you did not have this knowledge in application now. This is why people get stagnated. This is why people get stuck in loops. They keep repeating the same thing over and over again. So you failed the question in Christianity, you go to Islam. You fail the same question in Islam, you move to Judaism. Fail the same question in Judaism, you go to Rastafarianism. You fail the same question there. And then now there's a new movement, Grey Kemeticism. You fail there, you're going to go and then you're going to fail there. Uzofaila yonkindao, because you're failing to answer the simple existential problem of who are you? And this is what people are searching for. No, this is Penuel, my friend, the lawyer. No, this is Jabulani, my cousin, the doctor. No, that's not who I am. Why are we looking for our identities externally? Why do people want to force me to accept an identity that I don't identify as? I'm not Rasta. If I can wake up tomorrow feeling like studying the Quran, which I have cover to cover, I'm going to quote the Quran. And I'm going to tell you a truth from the Quran that nobody can deny. The Quran says many people say with their mouths they believe in God, but their hearts are far from Him. How many Christians are like that? How many Rastas are like that? How many Sangomas are like that? You say with your mouth, but your heart is in a different place. Now you're going to criticize Islam as a knowledge system because now it's correcting you on your wrong. Do you know what I call that? D-E-E-D, dead. Denial, evasion, biz. You deny it, you evade it, you dismiss it. D-E-D, dead. So I'm going to tell you, Penuel, putting this bottle here is, I didn't put it, deny. But I'm teaching you a lesson. This bottle is not supposed to sit here. But I beg one, deny. Evade. Dismiss. How many conversations have you had with that trait, Nabantu?
Almost most of them, because people hold on to the first branch of conditioning that they meet, and that becomes their whole life.
Their whole life. The loop. Repeating the same thing.
Rastafarianism seems to be the first rehab center for people that are searching for alternative meaning. What does Rasta mean to you? Is it important to smoke weed or be in a space where people are smoking weed? And what's the significance? Shout out to Rasta, by the way. And many people don't know it as a Christian underpinning.
Yeah. I sincerely believe that Rasta consciousness as a consciousness could be a solution to the world's ills. This is why. One love, one Jah, one aim, one destiny. These are Rasta slogans. One love. If people could have one love, the world would be peaceful. One aim. If me and you could have the same aim and not fight on different platforms, we could spread the message faster.
Yeah.
One God. If we realize that you call it Tribal Media House, I call it My Vuge Africa Media House. They're both media houses. Right? We are all doing the same thing. One aim, one destiny. We are all aiming at the same goal to wake up the consciousness of our people. How much faster would our liberation come? How much more real would our liberation be? South Africa fought apartheid and all of that. And 94, when we got the power back, we got it back fragmented. IFP, UDM, this and that. We're the only country with more than 100 political parties on the ballot paper. Only country in the world. Yeah, you can say, yeah, but you have your people, your groups and groups in England, in New York, no. In Parliament, you only have 2 representatives. You have your House of Commons and your House of Lords. You have your Democrats, you have your Republicans. Every other sub-organization has to fall under these 2 umbrellas. In South Africa, sizovotela iDaga party. So votela Kick party, Kiss party, ASOP party, in party.
This has been there for a while, Benitag.
Like, you get me? But now, fragmented liberation, Lesienza. His Excellency Julius Malema broke out from the ANC. His Excellency Jacob Zuma breaks out from the ANC. Cope broke out from the ANC. Now, ANC itself is fragmented within the ANC. I was laughing with Tabompegi trying to correct his Excellency Ubauzis, trying to correct. Oguti, there's no such thing as Ramaphosa's ANC. The ANC is the ANC. And then his brother comes out and says, Zuma is the best political strategy. It's chaos.
Yeah.
How about we add a spiritual element to all of this? And when I say spiritual element to all of this, I'm not speaking African spirituality. I don't believe in African spirituality. I believe it's a concept that does not exist. It does not make sense. You cannot justify it. You cannot explain it. Because if you're going to explain African spirituality, then you're going to have to talk about European spirituality, Asian spirituality, American spirituality, Scandinavian spirituality, and kanti yini lento yomoya? Is it not a universal common thing? What is spirit? Why must it be labeled with the flag of a country? Why must it be labeled with the color of people? You hear a lot, but yeah, there's a whole wave, a movement of the melanin woke people, the melanated consciousness and melanated. How many criminals are in prison who are black with melanin? Rapists, murderers? How many today? Yeah, in any given prison. Where did melanin help them? How many people buy a lawyer manje publicly on social media buy a target with melanin?
Yeah.
How did melanin help their intelligence? Emakasi, we are still building imikuku. We are not developing into houses. We are still building imikuku. Where is the melanin? Where is the intelligence? When was the last time black people built a pyramid? I know omunye uzothi ya vele wena ubathanda abantu abamnyama. Vele ngibathanda abantu abamnyama. I don't like black people. Black people have a problem. How can I like you if you hate yourself? Ngiyokuthanda kanjani wena uzonda? Ngiyothini? Because I'm going to give you all my love, you won't understand what the fuck I'm giving you. How many girls cry for expensive weaves instead of a present partner? Hawu Penuel yena uhlala khona yazi wenza yonke into le mara akayithengi weave. Hayi uyabhora.
The priority is the weave.
Okay.
It's not even your own hair.
It's not even your own hair. How many guys leave their houses with big screen TVs on the wall, cinema sofas, nama fridge, nama cup holder, Mario hlala kwi-cam chair, estradeni. How many guys do that? Not, you built a home for yourself. You built a palace. You built yourself yonke lento ifuna, and then yohlala phezu kwekhula bag wena.
Sure.
Explain that to me. How does it make sense? How can I love you when you hate yourself? You won't understand the love I give you. You won't understand it. Control. I remember a few of my students bathi me when they left my school, but la efamini ka Abba la uzobulawa ukusebenza nokufunda. Uzobulawa ukusebenza nokufunda. And
working and learning.
Working and learning is going to kill you? Okay, I get. Hambi yophila ke la uphila khona.
I want to go back to Rasta as an
Rasta,
escape and and weed.
This is my experience of Rasta.
Is it important for people to visit Rasta, anyone, or to study it just as part of their own life journey?
No.
You were saying as a consciousness, you think it would really be a great solution.
As a consciousness, it's a solution. As a movement, no.
Okay.
Because there is a problem. Gunobu Rasta. Let's say Rastafari. And then there's Rastaman. Right? So Rastaman will tell you, yeah, we smoke ganja, we don't eat meat, we don't do this, we don't do that. But then there's Rastafari, Emperor Haile Selassie, the first of Ethiopia. I would advise people to study him and forget a little bit about Amarasta.
Okay.
Yeah, Marasta are just people also looking for answers.
Sure.
And they happen to stumble upon a knowledge system that could liberate them and the world, but they couldn't understand it. It's like people reading the Bible and believing that the Bible is leading them to a specific religion or a church. I read the Bible. I'm not a Christian. I read the Bible. I don't find, and having read the Bible, the funny thing is I discovered that it does not even speak about God or religion or church. It's a book of human development. It's a psychological book. It's a book of how to develop your own consciousness if you know how to read it. I'll give you an example. Matthew chapter 1 speaks about the generations of Jesus Christ. It starts with 14 from Adam to David, 14 from David to exile, 14 from exile to the birth of Jesus. So you have 3 sets of 14. If you write that down, 3, 1, 4, what's that? Pi ratio. Right? And then if you go and study further in the New Testament, same book of Matthew, you find that Jesus goes out and recruits 12 disciples. So now you have one person with 12. Right? 13. And those 13 branch out into 72. You see, there's a multiplication that's happening here. There's a geometry, a sacred geometrical pattern that's being painted here. And that sacred geometrical pattern comes back to the human experience. All of us in this world have 12 experiences. We all have a Peter experience that you doubt everything you do. I've got the confidence for it, but I doubt. Like Peter walked on the water but drowned when he started questioning. We all have that about ourselves. We all have a Matthew character about ourselves who collects taxes, who wants to benefit from other people's hard work. We all have that about ourselves. We all have a John characteristic about ourselves. And I'm only saying a first level of interpretation. There's 12 levels. I'm only going to deal with one. You all have a John about ourselves. The John who wants to be noticed by the man in power in the room. No, did you see me? I did this. No, did you see me? I brought that for you. That's why John is the disciple who was close to his heart. We have a Philip, a very rigid structure about ourselves. This is how it's done, and this is how it's always been done, and this is how we're always going to do it. This is why Christ said to Philip, you are a true Jew, there's nothing false about you. And then we have the philosopher time that we have would and imagine and wonder, oh, what's going to happen with my life? That's the Bartholomew part of the disciples. I won't go through all 12. But it's a sacred geometrical pattern of how the psychology of man works.
You believe in numerology as well as a knowledge system?
Numeration, yes. Numerology, not that much.
What's the difference?
The difference is everything in nature is written in numbers. And all these numbers are only 9. You only have 9 numbers in the world. 1 up to 9. Every other number after 9 is a repetition of the same pattern.
0 is not a number.
No, 0 doesn't exist. You cannot count nothing. Show me nothing in this room.
Okay.
You can't count nothing. So 0 is a false number. The first number is 1, numeration. That's why I say I don't believe in numerology, the philosophy of numbers. No, numeration, yes, 1 bottle. And that's when we can only start to count. We can't we can't count nothing.
Not that the number 4 represents some type of energy or whatever.
No. The number 4 does not represent an energy. It is stability in itself. 4 corners of a house, 4 corners of the world.
Okay, so you believe in
Your
numbers
4 limbs.
as a practical application.
It's a practical
not
application.
numerology and that type of.
Remember intelligence? Practical application. We must never forget that aspect.
Yeah.
If you cannot practically apply it, uzoba ne problem.
Weed.
The
holy herb. Impepo. Why intend ukubhema iganja?
I made a vow to myself to never promote, speak about, or talk about the benefits of insango, because I don't want to sound like umuntu opromotayo.
Yeah.
You know, even when there were marches, ganja, I didn't participate in that because I believe ganja is my personal choice and it's something I do in my own private space, you know. I'll smoke in my car while traveling. I'll smoke in my house. I'll smoke in a person's house on memile. But I'll always ask for indawo yami le move ukuhlala ngibe ngingaphazamisa abantu because angipromote. But what is insango? Insango ngesiXhosa sithi ngumya. Licuba lesiXhosa lakudala. Tobacco was brought by the Portuguese. It's not indigenous.
Tobacco as a plant.
Yeah, the plant, tobacco plant. It's not African. It's.
There's a lot of plants that are not native here, which people are not aware of. We once spoke about maize and others as well.
Garlic, carrots, a whole lot of things. Eucalyptus
is not native to us.
It's not. This is why more futang eucalyptus. If you stay as futweni for too long, you come out dizzy and because the toxins. You understand? And if you ingest it for too long, izokulimaza. Sibiza umdlavuza. Iyadlavuza, it tears up. Understand? It's not native to us. It's necessary, but it's not native to us. Iyasebenza yona mawulapha umuntu, but I don't. Be careful.
Tobacco was brought by the Portuguese.
Tobacco was brought by the Portuguese. It's not native to us. Our people used to smoke insango all over. Right? And they would even mix it benze ugodo, where insango is mixed with other certain herbs. 1, to open up their consciousness. 2, to it's also a body relaxant. And why is the relaxant necessary? Because your consciousness needs to detach from the physical, everyday things of life. Now, every person that wakes up today in the mornings thinks about going to a job, right? Ngiyosebenza kuphi, ngiyodlani, umsebenzi, salary, ngiyoholani, in. Back in the day, our ancestors, they would wake up and want to discover what this day brings for them. So every day for them was not a rush. It was a what's coming. You understand? So they would sit in a circle. So let's go out, leave our community, go out to a secluded place, smoke, and then talk about life in our community. That's where now solutions, rituals, cultures came about. Because isiko yini, yazi abantu there's a problem of religiousizing spiritual concepts like isintu. No, isintu asenziwa kanje, isintu senziwa kanje. Okay, lo osenze kanje mawuthi asenziwa kanje akuyena umuntu yena.
Shusha kasu umuntu mase.
Okay, ngoba umuntu isintu yinto eyenziwa abantu. So anything that humans do isintu, we don't need to build shrines around it. We don't need to build libraries and books and auditoriums to teach isintu. The fact that you wake up in the morning usiqedile isintu, uyadla isintu, uyaxoxa nomuntu isintu, uphatha umchamo isintu, siyabambisana amasintu. It's just being. That's it. So now we're trying to spiritualize this and this is why I wouldn't advise Rasta. I would advise studying Emperor Haile Selassie. Because Emperor Haile Selassie, you are studying the being. When you're going to study Ubu Rasta,
it's a doctrine, it's a religion, it's a structure.
And all they're doing is into. Abangafuni-ke nabo siphelele ngoba abawenza amasiko asemakhaya. And this is why one big thing that made me pull back from Marasta. Marasta yazala abantwana abahlawuli. Marasta mithi singane zabantu abalobole. Marasta bathi is my queen, is my empress, is my akamshadile.
You don't believe in those things?
No, I believe in honor.
Okay, we'll speak about that. I want to finish this weed story.
So weed.
Sorry. You're saying people would smoke it back in the day because it was native.
And talk about lezinto esihlangana nazo every day.
And detach from
physical everyday things. And then we'd come back with inspiration.
Yeah.
To share with the people we left Ekaya.
So if not weed, for example, since you say you're not necessarily an ambassador, you believe in the idea of detaching from physical, getting to a higher level of consciousness and trying to philosophize even, but try and figure out and ask questions and come up with ideas. And
problem with substance, it becomes a crutch. It becomes an addictive problem now. You start to develop a problem of addiction. So now, growing up, I taught myself with Mangpem. I'm reading alone.
Yeah.
So if I'm smoking, my mind is already tuned into, I'm learning now.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be learning. So even in conversation, we'd be having a constructive conversation because my mind is tuned to that.
Yeah.
Unlike umuntu ozobhema hlele khoneni, abheke phe sithi thina umuntu onjalo ubanjwa imfene. You understand? You end up in a gaze, bheke phezulu, uyaskylocker. You understand? And now that, it teaches your brain to have gaps. Your brain is very stupid. Yabona engqondweni, emzimbeni wakho, the dumbest thing is your brain. Uva amaXhosa bathi isiqhelo siyayoyisa ingqondo. What you are used to doing, your brain cannot comprehend beyond it. So if you teach your brain to smoke in Sango, and you're doing nothing to learn, to evolve, to grow, your brain is going to get stuck on that. So every time you smoke, your brain is going to revert to that.
Routines become habits, habits become who your being of sorts.
So you find people who smoke ganja as an escape. You find people
Not as a stimulant for
not
progress.
as a stimulant for progress. It's an escape. You find people who smoke ganja for they depend on it. Without it, they akasekho right lo muntu loyo.
Everything in excess is dangerous.
Yeah.
And without a functional purpose.
Without a functional purpose. So a lot of people would ask me, so why do you smoke ganja? Why would you be interested in why I smoke? You know, because if I give you my reason, it won't match with your level of consciousness. Not to say my level is above you,
Sure.
but my perspective is different from yours.
Correct.
You know, so ganja is very, 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 very dangerous. I'd like to emphasize that. Insangu bakwethu iyahlanyisana. Angifuna ukukhuluma manje.
You're very right. We've got a lot of those of us esazama out from growing up. If you deny that, you're lying.
Insangu iyahlanyisana bakwethu. You know how many men I've slept from Cape Town to Pretoria endleleni?
Or slept.
Physically slept.
English, Baba.
No, slept.
Oh, wabashanga impama. I slept, Baba.
Impama or induku badliwa induku. Insizwa zidliwe induku la ngaphandle. Ngoba umuntu ngizopaka imoto ngizocela ukuthela ipetrol. Mayifika uzothi Jaman ongiphenyana i3nyana. Ngiphume ngithi ozoyithatha ke 3. Nayi.
Unezo 5 instead of 3.
Usemsebenzini uzongifuna insangu. Uyabona ukuthi insangu iyahlanyisana.
Phela 3 unezo 5.
I'm generous. Inhliziyo yami inkulu. Ngimnika u5 plus iadvice ukuthi umlungu wakho makangayibona lento uyenzayo awuqoshwe emsebenzini. You are going to lose your monthly salary. For insangu ingane zakho ziyodlana.
Sure.
Uyobhema emva kwa garage la emsebenzini uskylock bese abantwana abadleni. And then uzothi uqoshiswe yimi emsebenzini. So nayiki 5 yakho. And don't ever do that again. Insangu iyahlanyisana. Uthola umuntu estradeni awumazi ubhema lento awumazi nokuthi ufakeni la ngaphakathi. Umcela ama2. Bengisesowethu ngelinye ilanga in the mornings.
It's very dangerous, that thing of smoking things you don't know.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous. A friend of mine in high school, I won't say his name, was lahlekela for 4 days because he met girls at a park. Bapema, what is cave? Bampemise kanti these girls bafaka ama drugs kulento yabo. Waduki Hatfield yonke for 4 days. That was the only time I went to a nightclub in my life.
Jeez. You were saying something about Soweto. I interrupted you.
I understand. Soweto, an old man in the morning. Early morning, siyemngcwabeni. Usithola simile sifuna besiyothenga cold drink. Now he comes to the car. Yo, ama Rasta. Yo, ngasho ngaba right. Bafethu, ngicela ningiphemise kancane. Ngithi time, uyazibona ungakanani? Like, look at all of us in the car. Ikhona intanga yakho la emotweni. Kusasa mangikubiza ngegama estradini ngithi nasi lesa sinayi uzothi ngiyadelela ngithi.
Ngiyadelela, it's disrespectful.
Uzothi ngiyadelela ngithi.
But uzozenza untanga here.
Uzozenza umntwana kimi uzongifuna insangu ekseni ngovivi. Insangu bakwethu iyahlanyisana.
You feel the same about psychedelics?
Amasaka ayakwakha phinda kudilize. Amasaka adilika. Bantu abadla idakamizwa lezi zinto lezi. Laba abadla ama mushroom and then but you know we are practicing spirit. Mawubathola lapha iorgy lapha endlini. Badakwe ama mushroom, ama chakra what no we are meditating nenza amanyala bakwethu. Nenza amanyala bakwethu.
You're really a father, eh? It's coming through now. These are all parenting things that are coming through in you, trying to set order.
Angithi bayakhala lapha kuthi kuyileli lento yakho. But yini asithethisa ke why kumele asithethise ngoba manje angangizoncengana namasimba wenu bakwethu.
Jeez.
No, honestly speaking,
is that also French or is that another language?
No, I seem to phaka ke leso.
Oh shit.
Inkinga manje nayi nginyanga ne, and as inyanga I get people endumbeni. Mawuthi uchitha amathambo. Hayi man wena so uzithola kule nkinga engaka such a big problem. Somebody didn't want to speak the truth. That's it. Somebody didn't want to say this is your father. Somebody didn't want to say now giyagini.
That's all.
That's all. Sekuza umuntu manje endumbeni yami, hayi mkhulu, impilo yami, into zami zivalekile. My first question is yini into zakho ngoba usigcokile iskipa sakho nasi. That's yours. Iskipa eseshop asikakabi esakho esaseshop.
Sure.
So mawuthi izinto zami zivalekile, which things are you
Which
talking
things?
about? And then inyanga kzangoma, we are capitalizing on that. Bega, people have failed in life. Baqoshwe emisebenzini, bafeyile ezikolweni, bahamba bayogcoka ubuhlalu namabhayi.
Jeez, no, we need to press a semicolon there because that one's a big one. I'd like you to give a shout out to Amachito Hamba now first, and then I've got a question which is, it's an allowance for you to judge me and to maybe share your perspective. But if you can give a shout out to Amachita that are here. I forgot earlier because Konuputo figure was Bambi necklace la. But would you just give him a shout out and the other young gents as well?
Hey, ngithini? Ingane zami lezi.
Okay.
Yeah, my sons. uTembu Ngolanyama lo. uTheodros Amlak. Uzwayne.
Zwain. Lil Zwain. Sorry, I don't know if you guys want to just show your faces on camera. Because people are going to be like, who are these people now? No, just to being Helen, some one of our face. That's all. Sorry, if you don't mind. No, just to the camera. Either that one or this one. Scissors one. Sorry. No, just to Vezubuso. You want to just sikhuluma nezipoki in the back.
Ubani la besikhuluma ngawo.
Siyabonga kakhulu bafethu.
Na uTheodros Amlak lo ubhekalo Selasi lo.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now you're judging you're judging me now. Cheers. Men who impregnate women bangahlawuli, which means they don't pay damages. Men who impregnate women bangabaloboli, they don't, well, white people call it a bride price, and don't marry them. And you spoke about honor. So I'm a father of 7 children from 5 women. I've paid damages for my 1 son. All my other kids, no damages were paid, mostly because the families don't believe in those things. I don't believe in those things. The one mother, there was a fight because later on she wanted damages. And I told her, you met me at a time when I don't believe in these things, and we never had this conversation. I'm not married to any of them because I don't believe in the current concept of marriage and what it's meant to represent. I understand the underlying principles of Lobola, but I wouldn't Lobola a woman. And the legal systems we have created a mess in terms of if I pay anything to a woman's family tomorrow, she can come and take my assets when she's angry, etc. So from your side, what is the importance of those things that you call honor? You know, the idea of paying in Ndlovu, Lobola, Shada. Maybe let's start there. I'll speak about my Zuluness later, and then we'll go to Lenta Duish about people losing their jobs and trying to find solace in funny things.
Let's first get to Lobola out the way.
Okay.
Sithini isilungu. Lobola ubugebengu.
It has become ubugebengu, or it was always ubugebengu?
It's always been ubugebengu.
Ubugebengu is a crime.
From inception was ubugebengu ilobola. It was a crime. Not instigated by the father of the bride or the family of the groom. It was a native office of the Native Council theft, Theophilus Shepstein. He instituted this crime.
Don't forget the Lord. He's a very important man in society.
Hey, Nkosi yami usomswehu, Nkosi yami inkosi. Hawu bayede somswehu ekini. Hayi la.
Inkosi Amazulu.
Inkosi Amazulu.
My apologies, by the way. Sorry for anyone who takes offense.
Akushongo mina.
Yeah, I'll take the cancellation.
Theophilus Shepstein, he instituted this so-called Lobola nonsense, theft crime. And he placed the bride price at 11 cows for commoners, 13 for nobles, all the way to 20 for royals. Right? Whereas ilobola ngokwesintu in its original inception, which was not even called ilobola, it was called uphikisana. Now, we come and show you what we have.
Phikisana is to cook with each other.
Yeah. We come with what we produce, we bring it to your family. And then when the girl leaves, she leaves with what you produce. It comes back. Lobola is one-sided now. Kanti Lobola was a two-way stream.
Whatever we produce could be livestock, it could be crops, it could be we work with our hands.
Works, artwork, whatever. We could even go and build for you.
As a form of, this is what we produce.
Bati omafuza fulele. And there is one explanation that says omafuza fulele because when they left and moved villages, they took their roof with and went to settle in a different place with the same roof. There's another tradition, Gamafuza Fulele, in another family now, that says, Bona beba lobola ngokufulela. You understand?
That would be such a beautiful concept of Lobola with our skills and whatever we produce as a family, as a concept.
That's what Lobola was from its inception. Now the crime here, Lobola, Theophilus Shepstein.
Sorry, I just also want to say, because some people get offended, depending on where you come from in this country, there's the noun ilobolo, and then there's the verb ugulobola.
Yeah.
And you're saying lobola, and I know some people take offense, but we are aware of some of these things.
We're
just
aware of
raising
what
it.
is still. We're using the generic meaning of the words. So now, marriages today are skating on thin ice. Like you say, I lobola this woman, ngiyomcela kibo, and if angangikwatela uzothatha into zangakithi, akwenziwa lokho. That's not isintu, and this is this modern society, and so what is honor to me in terms of that? Hence I said asikhiphi lobola esayitini.
Okay.
Ubugebengu lobo. If I meet a woman and get to know her, senginecala gibo.
Get to know in which way?
In the biblical sense of knowing.
Oh, hey. Can I please get to know you in a biblical sense?
In a biblical sense of knowing ukuhlangana sexually.
Sure. No, that's very important because people are going to be like, no, but this guy says when I meet a girl, I owe her family. No.
No. When you
We
meet
mean from
sexually,
an intimate perspective.
Yeah.
You
already so necala ngakibo lentombi le. Now,
this is according to cultural prescription.
Cultural prescription, because now ungene emzini wabantu. You understand? Now, that woman, should you decide to carry on ngaye, right? Let's say she falls pregnant. Now, you have a choice yokuhlawula liyangane. Awuhlawuli ngane. There's a mistake of people, but amos ngimhlawulile.
Yes.
Uhlawule icala lakho.
Yes.
You
Paying
paid damage for what you did.
Which was a
violation. It has nothing to do with the child.
Violation of societal agreement.
Exactly. You understand? You are paying this damage to the father of the girl because you went into his home
without permission.
So in Tlhaolo, you still don't have the rights to your child. Bese ke umntwana uyomcela gibo. You go there again with another cow now. Goat, cow, whatever, payment, because it's monetary now, which is another thing, a problem. So now you go there nale nkomo, yokuthi ngicela ukushada ingane yami. Ngiyamcela to bring them home.
Like an adoption of my own child, because they currently live under your homestead.
Exactly.
And because I haven't done the right things, but I want the child, I will adopt the child.
Exactly.
Sure.
And then basho ke bathi all right, le eyokuthi ubone lo muntu. Sicela eyokumondla.
If you're not taking the child.
No. You are taking the child.
Okay.
You are paying the
isondlo. That they raise this child.
That they raise the
on
child.
Your behalf.
So now there is this one yesondlo, there is this one yokumcela.
Yes.
Right? Now you can decide ukuthi wonyuka ngengalo or wenzani. So, mawuhlawula, if we can use the analogy of my hand, mawuhlawula, this is what you do, uveza isandla. Ukuthi no him.
It's me.
I did this.
I'm guilty.
Uveza isandla.
Yeah.
Wenyuka ngengalo, no ngiyamcela ke manje lo mntwana. Right? Ngicela lo mntwana azoba ngakithi abe nesibongo sakithi. Wenyuka ngengalo ufika la endololwaneni engqinibeni. Because lo mntwana now has two homes. Unelikhaya lakubo mama, unalelikhaya lakibo. Unyuke ngengalo. Now, should it happen ukuthi ufuna nokuthatha nomamakhe umshade naye, le inkomo lezi zonke lezi you add on to kule yelobola, but akasalotsholwa lo ngoba seyizele uzelele ekhaya. So these cows kube nalena ke yokumcela untombi lo kibo, you take her home. So osanyukanga ngengalo ufike egcini ke manje, you took all your responsibilities and put it on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Both the mother and the child. Uyindoda ke kanjalo.
That's honor.
That's honor.
You spoke about isintu earlier, being umuntu. We live in 2024, and the beauty of what you're raising is the historical significance and the principles underlying why we do these things. Today we have women empowerment and we have feminism, and we have young girls or women who have agency, apparently. The idea of paying even a father, he may not even have been there. The idea of you paying as the boy, you're meant to have your father and his family paying on your behalf because you're also young, as an example. That's where the issue that's the issue people like myself have, and that's the conversation we're not having, especially with the custodians of what we call culture, being the kings and the chiefs. Where, so before you answer, so the issue now becomes, what am I being fined for? Where have I damaged? Am I presupposing that this woman is an inferior to me as a man, to a point where I have to say sorry to her family when she was riding me biblically, or she approached me, she wanted the child, she has been with other men before me, and it becomes very, very messy. And I must move back. Sorry, Abba, before you speak. You have been sent, I believe, into this world. Yes, which is bonging inkosi, and to reveal the mysteries and the secrets of the Creator God. We have platforms now which, thanks to technology, use the internet and people get to watch. Before you answer, I have to tell you that it would be irresponsible of you to withhold your to withhold how you truly feel, because there are many people who are going to need to hear whatever it is that you want to say or that you're thinking of holding back. So I'm raising this in that context because when people ask me, why have you not married these women? And I say, so must I snap my fingers and dictate to them, okay, I will marry you. Okay. Why have you not done this? And I explain, in their families, my understanding is this is their belief. I can't, in a Christian home where they don't believe in slaughtering, it's my family is not there. You're asking me, and all those, and now we're co-parenting. We live in the suburbs, all these weird things, and we need to raise this conversation because, again, unfortunately, the custodians of where these principles come from, and the fact that we can't even pay in cows and goats because we don't have land, we don't have kraals, we don't have livestock. Abo bayete dog. Sorry, the floor is yours to judge me, to maybe counsel me and other men like me to be men of honor, according to your words.
In your case, I won't judge you. I'm going to judge the world around you. And this is why. And this is not because I utilila pamgwami angeke wena.
But feel free to.
First of all, angwazi ukuthatha inkomo zika baba nyolobola ingane eyalimala amadolo wase high school. Right? By the time, and this is not
No, Portla, khuleka. This is a safe
this
space.
is not to say attackable mama or women, because now feminism inale problem yokuthi, well, feminism, all these isms that are floating around, they have a problem. They were created because of a truth that was uncomfortable to them. Let's start it there. Feminism was created by a woman, a group of white women, because of an uncomfortable feeling in their world, right? And then they spread that to all women, and then women started to see that, yeah, but I'm also uncomfortable with that truth, right? So, in order for a feminist philosophy to exist, it has to be against a masculine. Men have existed in the world since the beginning of time. There was never a system against women. We love women, right?
Very much.
Feminism is a system created and based on against them.
Yes.
So I like to say this: you can never move forward consciously with an against them mentality. Everything you do
not
against it's not sustainable. You can't sustain that. So feminism is not a sustainable concept. That's why if you put a feminist there, and I wish one day a strong feminist could come and we could share the same platform, and things would happen. Angagcina seka intombi yami masiphuma lapha.
Come on, Leo.
Because now feminism has no grounds to stand on. Ifana none. Can you be gay without sleeping with a man? I can be a man without sleeping with a woman. Can you be gay without sleeping with a man? She can be a woman without sleeping with a man. Can you be lesbian without sleeping with a woman? All these isms are created against an uncomfortable truth, right? Now, should the truth be accepted as it is? This is the truth. 90% of our women out there are unlobolable.
How? Hey.
No, they are not. Angengikwazi ukukulobola bengihlangana nayo emaklabhini for the past 6 years. Past 6 years wena bowujive emaklabhini nama-Nigerian.
Hawu, hayibo, hey.
And then uzolotsholwa yimi futhi. And then somebody is going to say, some dimwit is going to say, yeah, but what about men?
Yeah, you were also in the club, Mos.
Yeah, I was there in the club as well. What about men? 90% of men out there are boys.
How? We're also catching low 5, low Tandugu.
A lot of men are boys. I mean, ufuna nechisa nyama nomntwana ona 26, una 14 to. Umntwana ona 18, umthengele istropez. Why? You're a boy. Ufuna ukufaka lesendana lakho enganeni. Why? You're not thinking like a man. Well, you're thinking like a man. Ogabi indoda. Ogabi indoda. Still wet behind the ears. Uvukela noma ubona impukane.
How?
No, that's what these little boys are doing. Nama kemche, nama cooler bag, nama bruga hlale fridgini. That's what they're doing.
What did chairs and cooler boxes do to you, though?
Where's your home? Uphi umuzi kababa wakho? Hlele estradini wena kushona ilanga, uphi umuzi kababa wakho? Mangangena igebengu lapha ushiya ingane lapha. Uthemba ubhobi inja uyifida amathambo.
Have we not evolved into another sense of being? Because what you're speaking to sounds like you want us to go back to a time that served us, definitely. But to get back to that time would require a lot of work, which most people are not willing to do.
We cannot go back. It's against human nature to go back. Humans are evolutionary beings.
Okay.
We can't go back. That's why ufuna ukuyobukela ibhola etba thenga TV ibeke emzini akho. Thenga iWi-Fi uconnected to internet. Uzobukela wonke amabhola omhlaba nala adlalwa ngereverse. Do you understand? Ufunane tavern la kuzoqhuma isibhamu at any time abantwana bakho basale bengena baba. What happened eNyobeni with children 13 years old? Where were the parents? Where was the community? Where was the society?
They were all in the tavern there drinking with the kids.
Exactly.
I'm not even laughing, man. Rest in peace to those kids. Yeah.
It's not a joke, but it's true. We are letting it happen.
I'm hearing the what should be. The question is, what do we do now?
2 guys came to me endumbeni bafuna ngibuyise izinto zabo ezitshontshiwe. Zichontshwe nini? No, last night. How? Besise chisa nyama. We picked up these girls, and then when we got home, we had a drink. We don't remember what happened after that. We woke up, the doors open, the car is open, computers, laptops, phone, yonke into ihambile. Ngithi so man calculator yonke lento ingaba imalini so. No, must pay TV, none. It could go about 35,000, so 36,000. It okay. Manje mina nifuna mina ngenzeni. But time mkhulu sifuna uzibuyise lezi zinto. Ngithi ayilula leyo. Give me 66,000.
Ngizoyibuyisa.
Ngizazibuyisa manje lezi zinto. But time mkhulu singayoyiphanda ngithi yabona niyilima. First of all nina nithatha abantu eningabazi echisa nyama ebusuku nidakiwe. Labantu banitshontsha abafaka endlini yenu in your own private space. Nalokho bathatha yonke into. Now you want to pay double the value of what you lost so that you can get it back. Why don't you just go to the shop, buy the same things you lost and stop fucking around? Which is better option? Uzosebenzela mina 66,000 ngento elahlwe uwe.
Hey, but you've got solutions. You deserve imbuzi or inkomo just for that. Hey?
No, but honestly, kumele ngenzeni mina? Mina ngizohlala ngiwadla lama 66,000 wakho. Ngoba next month uzoyenza futhi ngoba uthemba ukuthi umkhulu uzozibuyisa into zami. That's another 66 phezulu kwami and leso sikhathi ine interest angithi. Ischool fees abantwana siyakhuphuka. Ngizofaka enye 10,000 ngaphezulu sekuyi 76 manje. Ngento oyilahle ye 15,000 uyilahle careless.
Let me make it about myself for ease. And I'm not necessarily saying you have the answers, but it's to push the conversation so that the people that are going to have it can try within themselves to find the answers. I've painted my situation with my children and the mothers, assuming that I would like to be a man of honor and I'd like to do the right thing and I'd like to be dignified. What would you suggest for a person like myself dealing with empowered women, dealing in a... You know?
Lula. There's no such thing as an empowered woman. Empowered woman goes with independence. Nothing is independent in this world. We are sitting here on this table. Who made this table? One of us? Who made these mics? Any of us? Who put this water in this bottle? Who made the clothes we are wearing? Who built this house? Who made the tar road outside? The food you're eating, who planted it? You just bought it. Who took it from the garden to the shop? Who planted the seed? Who actually bought the farm? Independence is an illusion.
Sure. It's one of the terms that actually makes me upset because normally it's the capitalist system saying we want you to be independent of your parents but dependent on us.
Precisely. Because they understand there's no such thing as dependence, as independence. We are all dependent on something or someone else. So now, empowered women, why did you carry my sperm in your stomach then? That's my child. Now, the government, with little power that I have, I'd like to advise the government, women who refuse fathers access to their kids should be put in prison for 15 years.
It's called parental alienation.
Yeah. 15 years, meluhlale ejele uvalelwe, no discussions, discuss after 15 years. Do you know why? 25 years later, 35 years later, that child's going to be a fuck up in society. Not only a criminal, he's going to be a child that can't hold a relationship. He's going to be a child that cannot understand community. That child is going to be anxious and deep.
So we're going to jail you because if you don't do the right thing, we're going to have to jail your child later.
We're going to have to jail your child later. So rather singamle like alakhona. You are the cause. Ubani ubaba umntwana? Hayi uPenuel asimlande la ekhona. Penuel uyamazulu. Hayi angangiganga. hey ngangiganga, hey ngangithi ngizama. All right, next door nawe 25 years yakho uzobheyila lapha.
Ithi phone mawubuza uPenuel ukuthi ingane yakho ithi GPS signal lost. Kusho phone ukuthi kuse uPenuel ngathi GPS ilahlekile.
Lost la. Umntwana mongazi awutiyama ukuphi. Siyakuvalela nawe. Uzokhishwa ubaba akho kuzalayo. Because that child is his grandfather's brother. Understand what I just said? Your child is your grandfather's brother. Udukise idlozi lakini emzini wabantu. Do you understand how deep that is?
I want to give a softer solution. I hear your solution and it
Wena bengiyokuvalela ejele wena.
to be very
And
necessary.
15 years for each of these 5 children.
07.
Say, wena boyobolela ejele, life sentence. But now, here's the solution.
So part of the issue, and I do think some of these things are designed externally to destroy our families. A lot of women rely on the child grant, 530, and they are almost incentivized to be single mothers. On a softer level, because again, these are things we're just going to discuss as potential solutions.
And not only this social grant, women have this idea that the child, AK-47 to shoot the man every time I get pissed at him.
Of course. Because it's the one thing that he has a soft spot for. It's his Achilles heel.
It's his Achilles heel.
So there's an incentive to not put the father's details on the birth certificate. So it's easier to claim. It's easier to get the child free education and because so the idea of saying you will not get a child grant. Your child will not be accepted in school until we have a father's name on the birth certificate and he's present.
That was one mistake.
I don't think it was a mistake.
No, it was a big mistake.
I think it was intentional.
Well, looking at it from that perspective, it was intentional. But if it was made out of a good heart, that was the biggest mistake. Giving grants for pregnant girls, that was a mistake. Because these kids, bekumele ukuthi makaqala ba pregnant, makabuyela kibo, ubaba mfaka isibhakela. You understand? Ubabakhe amkhahlele tot pitcom.
Well, hopefully umawakhe because
But now umama won't be able to do that because umama ufihlela ubaba ukuthi uthaba kusuka la ekhaya ngithi.
Hayibo, we're going all the way there.
No, but these are the ills in our society.
Would you agree if I were to say that black men have failed the black family unit and have failed society? Because it's one
Not
thing
at
to
all.
point out where women have fallen short.
Not
but
at all. I can't blame men. Men did nothing wrong. Women messed up our society. These men were raised by women.
But the men run away from their responsibilities.
Because they were raised by women.
Ew, just like that.
Simple as that. A man was raised by a woman does not know how to be a man. He can only be a bitch.
Oh, we went from French to German to...
It's just that you don't have a template.
You said the solution for me is easy.
It's very easy. You go to these children's families. If they don't want you to do the right thing for their kids, uthatha imbuzi umeke idini uyalikheza igazi lakho kule ngane and they'll suffer the consequences of a deluded, delusional, separated, unorganized child they'll have to raise. And they'll have to come back to you ngenkomo bazocela ke manje ukuthi sayicela le yanhlawulo.
Hey, that would be dope. If we're saying kufaselwe imbuzi on the thing
They'll
with
have
the
to
note.
come. No, I've actually done that with a family. The child was having episodes. Right? And I called the family yalo mntwana ngithi lo mntwana uzolimala lo bapha abantu bakibo. Hayi ngithi no, this is not the father. Where is the father of the child? And then the truth comes out. So please call the family of this child. Baba biza. Ngithi ngicela nina ke nibahlawulise for lengane. They called whatever amount of thousands they called. Ngathi no problem. Imali enihlawulisayo sharp. Baba umntwana naye. This family's been wanting umntwanabo, right? The father of the child stood up then and then, wahamba waye bank, wayikhipha yonke le mali bayifunayo. ngithi no ilethe la kimi qala before iya lapha. All right, first of all na imali enifunile yenhlawulo yalomntwana
we pay master
iphelele ila naleleni ngengane yabo isasencane.
Debs.
Ngibuyela kubaba. When this child mabazomcela kibo ashonelwe ugogo, why did you refuse?
Deb.
When this child started to struggle, nina nithathe lo mntwana nayomshadisa komunye umuzi, nafaka lengane secretly kule ndoda, making him think it's his child.
Deb.
Hlawula lo yamuzi ke lapho. Umntwana uyagula ke manje ngoba nina nale ngaye. Celani la abantu bakabuba bakhe abaphethe umuthi wokulapha lengane anilaphele ingane. Na inkomo yokulapha ingane. Thathani ke nina le 500 yenu unahambe la.
Hey, such a harsh judge. People are coming to you for solutions when you have a punisher.
That's the best solution because manje bebezothatha inkomo zabantu and then bayothi edlozini labo inkomo zani le ngoba nina necala nala ngengane. How do you explain that mawufika kini? Uzothi imali yani?
I'll put a full stop for today on that one. Let's go back to the one where I put a semicolon. You speak about people that fail in their jobs and then they start looking for solutions in other things. And I'd like to think we were going to this point of all of a sudden people say, "Beyatwasa now." Sebefuna ukuba izangoma and those kind of things. And your thoughts around this concept of modern Sangomas, some of which are celebrities, people with depression, people whose careers are not going somewhere. And in that answer, if you could also distinguish between Sangoma, Inyanga, Istunyo, and any other gifted person that you may know for people to learn about.
I'm going to be stabbed and shot for this. In South Africa, asinayo into ekuthiwa isangoma.
How? That's your opening.
Ngiqala kanjalo. Yeah, bitter taste in the mouth from the start. The first cut is the deepest. In South Africa, we don't have a thing called isangoma. The ngoma tradition comes from up there. Up north. North if you're looking at it like this, or south if you're looking at it like this. But it comes from up there. That's why they have the ngoma lungundu that came from up there. They have the ngoma that comes from up there. We don't have a ngoma. And then people now, to show you, to prove to you that in South Africa, emangonini, we don't have isangoma. When you ask people what is isangoma, what do they say? The drum, the singing, the dancing.
Ingoma, drum, siyacula.
No. Ngoma is a secret. That's what the word ngoma means. It's a secret. It's a secret science. It's a system of magic. It's a ngoma. Now, if these beads, I take these beads, ngizigcobisa ngamafutha wengilosi, ngizifake phansi kwephiko lenyoka, bese ngiyazithatha ngizigcokisa icox yenkomo. Mangifaka lezi zinto ngithi these are my lucky beads, right? Ingoma yamle. Mangigcoke yona la ngiyakhona ayikuyenzeka.
Yeah.
Ingoma yamle. Do you get it? Angisona isangoma. Nginengoma.
I remember Putimbuso Khoza speaking about how even this thing of having a gift of ubungoma is not meant to be something you publicize.
Okay.
It's very much
that's why ngithi asiqale ngobungoma first. Into engekho la emangunini in our traditions. Ayikho kwaXhosa, ayikho kwa, I don't want to say kwaZulu because uZulu is not really a nation. We'll get to that.
Not really a nation.
No, it's 200 years old.
You definitely want to get stabbed.
They are nation. No.
Definitely.
Zulu is a family. Zulu is a family.
We'll get to it.
Zulu is a family.
We'll get to
and
it.
this is not disrespectful to the nation.
We'll actually
the
close.
nation
We'll actually close with that. Begu semicolon lapha. I'll remind you.
So
because I've got a question somewhere there.
Ungangifaki engozini.
Usifaka wena engozini baba. I was not there. I was not here.
Ni edit bakwethu leyo part. So githi asinabo ubungoma. Ubungoma busuka le. This is why abantu abanobungoma umuntu othwasela ubusangoma uzothwasela hayi nomndawo. These are people coming from up there. Right. Sinobugqirha. Sinobuqhwele kwaXhosa. Rena le bungaka. Sotho Tswana Pedi bungaka. 5 categories of bungaka. Ngaka kyatseba, ngaka kyakgetla, ngaka chicha, ngaka nkadingala, le ngaka ya malopo. Ezwa ke the 5 categories of bungaka. None of these people can say ngisisangoma. If any of these categories tsa bungaka or Tswana Sotho Pedi mothwasa uthi unamanga. Whoever okuthwasisile ukuthwasisa manga udlale ngawo. Mozo thwasa ungumXhosa uthi habe senyathokoza awuthwasanga kahle. KwaXhosa yikho leyo nto leyo. KwaZulu it gets tricky because of history and the mixing of nations. So KwaZulu you have a whole lot of differences zobunyanga. You have amakhosi, you have izangoma, you have all of this because of the intermixing of the nations that was created by Ushaga and his movements.
Sorry, before that, the examples or the terms you were giving had to do with healing.
Yeah, healing.
Okay.
But not only healing, it has to do with our life in general. So this is it now. Why now there's so many sangomas and ujengobuti ubamuso cause it was not even something to be publicized. In one family, you can't have 3, 4 yenyanga as twasile. If mina ngithwasile ekhaya, we can't have 2 others abazothwasa bathwasela liphi idlozi ngoba lala ekhaya ngilithwasele mina. Baphahla komuphi umsamo ngoba umsamo wekhaya uyi1. So, sesithwasa sibaningi kanje. Secondly, in a family sekunenyanga ezi5, 6, 10 thwasa wonke umuntu. How? Nithwasela liphi idlozi. Secondly, ubunyanga it's not something that you market. Awuhambe utshela abantu beka ama poster nayi phone number yami. I'm sure you've never seen my poster, my number on anything. I don't give my numbers out. I don't want to give my numbers out. Umuntu ozekimi uyilethwe into yakibo. And how you find me is how your ancestors are going to find me. Angeke ngikunike ne direction.
But I've got your number now. So abafuna ukuza kuwe baba, must come through me. I'm the gateway to healing.
So I don't market myself. I don't have numbers publicized. I don't do all of that because not because mina ngingcono, but because la ngathwasa khona ngafundiswa ukuthi ubunyanga into yakini. Bekugula mina, kwalashwa mina. It's not a business. So the moment I start to publicize and send phone custom, say we business man. Access idlozi. So now this is why ke manje kuzokhuluma kuneyigubhu zokudonsa amathwasa. Kuneyigubhu zokudonsa because in essence abukho ubunyanga. All these people are just wearing beads and cloths nje badlala ngabantu. There's very few yezangoma yenyanga in South Africa that I know. And this is not to say anything against anyone. I don't know a lot of people, Shem. So, ning understand. Angazi abantu abaningi. And the few that I know, there's even fewer healers.
It sounds like to me, as a Western conditioned person, you are saying you get sick. Let's call it spiritual. Because physical, maybe you go to a doctor or you take something. And you are referred to someone who can maybe heal you. And in that healing, part of that process is we believe you are also meant to maybe be a healer. And then you get put through a process, trained, be an apprentice. And then from that point on, maybe your family will know and anyone in your family who's sick will come to you, and other people will say, who healed you? And it will, like word of mouth, where people will say, look, I can't say much, but when I had a problem, this person, it's not you going around saying, hey, look, I heal people. It's very much referral, where you're like, guys, this is not necessarily my profession, it's a gift, and you only come to me referred from someone who has seen or has experienced my works, and not because, and you become powerful in that because people just speak about you, and you've healed so many, to a point where when people come to you and you cannot heal them, the idea should not be, I will heal you no matter what. It is like, oh, thank you for whoever brought you, but it's not necessarily for me. You're not within whatever skill set that I have.
I send you to someone who does it better. My normal day-to-day work, I'm a farmer. I wake up every day, look after cows, sheep, goats, my vegetables, my chickens. I'm a farmer. That's what I do every day. That's my work. I have a couple of trucks that work, I've got a TLB, a Sasol. That's my everyday work.
Abba.
Anginamali.
Ngiyabonela pheze Rasta elingenamali mina elibhebenzanga.
Ngiyazama anginamali awuthiyami.
Unama TLB?
Hayi ama.
Suzoba umngani wami ngempela. So I thought you were coming here with this voodoo stuff. Would say this guy and his funny things must leave.
No, man.
I'm joking.
My life, my work spiritually, in the school, I teach. But my livelihood is in my hands.
Practical things that you're giving to society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My livelihood is in my hands. My gift is a gift. If I don't get paid for it, I was not supposed to get paid for it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I'm not going to go around saying, hey, come to me, I'm the best nyanga. Hey, come to me. I'm not the best nyanga.
Was the idea of paying in inverted commas, the idea that you have healed me and I'm just saying thank you? It is not for you to request.
Initially, inyanga zazibhatalwa ngama-seeds. Okulima engadini. Bezibhatalwa ngokuvuna. Hayi ekhaya sivunile sizokhanyisa.
Harvest.
No, sizokhipha inkomo. You understand? It was
the idea also from an African perspective to pay in whatever you have in abundance, be it your skill, your produce, whatever, not to take from a place of lack.
Now, you can't take from a place of lack and give to me utuzongikhanyisela, because on your way home inhliziyo yakhe iyakhala.
I had to go and borrow.
How is that a blessing to me?
Let's shut it down. Leading you to the slaughter of Zulu. So one of the things that people have found offense to me saying was I have left the Zulu nation.
Yeah, but you were never Zulu.
And I've written pieces and I've made videos trying to explain what that meant. And the whole concept of
Let's break it down for them now, once and for all.
Before you answer that, in that answer, you must then explain also why you were saying that Zulu is not a nation.
Okay. Asikhulume ngomlojo. Right?
That's me, boy.
Abelungu labo.
Ow.
Awuzithakazela uzozwa. I'll show you ukuthi kulento ishoyo kunobulungu bakho lapho, Sean.
I don't know them off by heart.
Oh, I get.
But I can read them. I told you I'm Western leaning. Let me see if I can find them. Sorry, if I don't find them.
No, another day. I hope. So
it's
now,
fine.
isizwe sakamlojo akubona abantu abelungu. They came here with the red jackets. Right? Isizwe so omakhanya, yeah. Ngangihleli nontombi yakhona lo usugogo la recently. Isizwe sakamakhanya akubona abantu abelungu.
Jeez, that's tough.
Isizwe zodani abelungu. Isizwe omayepa abelungu. There's a whole lot of families, right? Controversial.
I'll put my clan names. I've got them here because I
Yeah.
went and I did the research like the good white boy that I am. I'll put them in the comments.
Yeah,
you know, Ontanzo, Ontumbezo, Ondim, Oshaba no Sholos.
All right.
Sure.
Now, there's this family, Unkosi Dlamini. You know that family?
Yeah.
Is it Unkosi or is it Dlamini? What is it?
Depends on who you ask.
It depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
because half of this family is actually white in origin. Half of this family is actually black in origin. So which side of it is, I won't answer that. Angifuni ukukokotelwa ngilele. But a lot of people, KwaZulu, are white.
What do you mean white? European?
Yeah, European, Scottish, British, French, a lot of them. Let's talk about Tusomtswewu, Shepstein. Shepstein had 46 wives. No. I mean, Robert Dunn.
Okay.
Robert Dunn had 46 black wives and 1 Malay wife. Those 46 wives gave birth to 46 Zulu families.
This is a conspiracy theory
No, fact.
that can be verified by so-called
Verified by
white history.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go on the internet and find it now. Robert
Okay.
Dunn.
Was he a lord?
Yeah.
Lord Robert Dunn.
Lord Robert Dunn or John Robert Dunn.
John Robert Dunn.
Yeah.
46 Zulu wives.
From royal families.
And 1 Malay wife.
Uh-huh.
And he had children with these wives, and they gave birth to families or
46
nations.
Yeah. And those nations married into black families, and black families into black families. Today they look like me and you.
Is this unique to Zulu, or it goes across Nguni and other
If you
Sotho?
go to Limpopo, you find isizwe sabo Maepa. Abo Maepa, they come from a man called Maepa Dihlare, who came from the Swaziland direction on a horse. And he lived among Samapedi for some time, and he was helpful to the community because Begabakupe limiti about Lapa, Mabakul.
Is this a white man?
A white man. So they called him Kindate Maepa Dihlare. So he had wives and gave birth to children. Today, those children speak fluent Spedi. They look just like me and you. Kibo Maepa. It's all over. It's across. KwaXhosa, you have abantu abala Amalaw. Amalaw meaning a mixture of black and white.
Yeah, is it a
interbred.
derogatory term today for colored?
Yeah, it's a derogatory term for coloreds, but
Yeah.
KwaXhosa, it's a name of a specific nation.
Mixed race.
Mixed races. So it's a national phenomenon, Lentole. So now you saying now, let's say when saying I've come out of my Zulu identity, you were never a Zulu. You've always been white.
But then who was Zulu?
So you
who
were
is Zulu?
probably a great grandmother. Every person traces himself from his father.
You agree with that?
Yeah, you can't trace yourself from an MTD, MTNT mitochondrial DNA. You can't trace yourself from a womb. It has no signature.
This is science.
Science.
And biology.
All wombs are like, you see these 3 bottles of water, if we could take them to the lab and empty them and test them, they have the same empty space.
Okay.
Okay.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
And the
If I
content
put Coke
is
there
from the
and
man.
I put Fanta here and I put Schweppes here,
That's masculine.
that's what identifies, that's masculine.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, women, you can't.
But people will
identify
attack you in the
children from-
comments, it's fine.
Yeah,
So
well, they
so
can
yeah.
go and research them for themselves. Don't believe me. Research. I always say, do not believe me.
Sure. That's a very important disclaimer that.
Yeah,
Guys, he
don't
does
believe
smoke
me.
weed, so.
So don't believe me. Do your own research. Study for yourself. So
Before we get too
uZulu-
complex, sorry, while you're answering, my understanding is that KwaZulu was a consolidation of many families. My understanding is I don't even know if this was a consolidation. What we call the Xhosa people today are not Xhosa, and there are many different groups as well there.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, in whatever you're going to say.
uZulu now, when umntwana uSenza ngakhona was alive, there was no Zulu kingdom.
That is correct. It's like Christianity and Jesus. There was no Christianity
Before
during Jesus' time. Yeah?
Exactly. Zulu kingdom starts ngoShaka.
Yes.
Who was actually a general Ganyambos. General Mteto.
That's correct.
So now Mteto was killed by Zwide
Ngumalo.
Ungumalo. Shaka avenges him as a general out of honor. And then with support from the other Omdletshe laba, Mabutho laba, he takes over the kingdom. And then he subdues many others and he declares himself is Zulu.
Yeah.
Right? Now the kingdom of KwaZulu begins.
Yeah.
Today we have a kingdom ya KwaZulu that can only trace itself back to 1817.
This is almost similar to the British coming and saying you are now South Africa.
No, but then that's when the British came. It was the British who instituted the Zulu kingdom, who forced it into our history, into our consciousness. Without Britain, there is no Zulu kingdom. There is no Zulu king. There is no Zulu history.
I want to touch on, I don't know if you have the knowledge of Xhosa. You know, when you speak Xhosa, there's people that mention some of the other Angazompondomis and those kind of
are
groups.
all not Xhosas. All those people came to Xhosa for refuge, for protection.
Xhosa was a family, was
one
a
family.
kingdom.
Yeah, it's one family, uXhosa. Iline gankosi yamntu. Amachawe, Ojwaga, up until uGagabe noGcaleka. Everyone else is not uMxhosa. But during the 100-year frontier wars and the wars after that, a lot of people came to find refuge kwaXhosa. That's why you have Amamfengu who came to Ukumfenguza to ask for food. You have Ababhaca emakibo beza kwaXhosa. You have Abesuthu kwaXhosa. You have Amazulu, Amandebele kwaXhosa. You have many nations within the Xhosa conglomerate, but uXhosa is one. So you have uXhosa. You have Umpondo noMpondomise who are twins, who are related to Unonzaba nomqwathi, right? So ngamaXesibe lawo. So you have Xhosa, Mampondo, Mampondomise, amaXesibe, amaqwathi. All of those people are Xhosa. You have amaGqunukhwebe who are not Xhosa. You have Amalawu who are not Xhosa. You have Abesuthu who are not Xhosa. You have Amabhaca namamfengu who are also not Xhosa. Do you understand?
This is now because of colonizers deciding to group us into...
Now,
because there are certain nations in KZN that today are having these conversations of wanting to be moved away from Zulu.
That is colonial effect. Before that, kwaXhosa, Abatembu had their own space. So Abatembu would carry on with Abatembu traditions. Abesuthu would live Nabesuthu. You understand? This is how Oyinza used to do it. If you came and helped us, we give you a piece of land. Hence, kunesibongo kwaXhosa kuthiwa ngomhlatyana osikhomo. They were given a piece of land. Umhlatyana. You understand? So it was negotiation, but we don't tell you how to live. We don't dictate to you.
Sure.
But now government and colonialism came, but okay, ngapha kuhlala amaXhosa. And then uthola manje nabetswana sebathi hayi lerona simaXhosa.
Sure.
Awukwazi nokusikhuluma isiXhosa moswena. Northern Cape.
Yeah.
Abatawung baTswana. Uzwa baTswana Northern Cape bakhuluma isiXhosa bakhuluma isiTswana.
That's correct.
Namaxhosa le bakhuluma isiXhosa bakhuluma isiTswana.
Correct.
So uyabona ukuthi
even north of the Eastern Cape going into Lesotho.
Amatatiyela abesuthu abakhuluma isiXhosa nabeXhosa abakhuluma isiSuthu. So colonialism man isenzile kanje, but if you can trace your father, that's who you
Thank
are.
you, Khomoto.
That's who you are. If you trace your mother, you're going to end up with her father and then another male line starts.
Do you have any idea if Soshanguve was also not segregated per se, but there were various groups?
It was a project.
There are people that don't know. If you can please break down where the term Soshanguve comes from.
Suthu shangane vendanguni. So Suthu shangani nguni venda.
Soshanguve. All these melting pot of groups.
It was an experiment. All locations are an experiment. So a location, you find a mikukwin at the outskirts. You find your 2 rooms, your 3 rooms, and then your 4 rooms, government, and then your bond rooms, and then your rich black people with your double stories, right? And then we spread according to demarcations. La kugcwele amateksi khona Amazulu, la kugcwele amashop khona amapedi nabesitswana, la kugcwele khona ama-fresh produce, amamango nama-avocado, amashangani namavenda, abo-doctor nama-lawyer, amaxhosa angithole. In every society you'll find that. And it was designed. That's why growing up, ubani shangane, ubani uyakhala umntwana mama bangibiza ishangane. But ushangane is the name of a great king. So shangane. You understand? He's the name of a great king. But now most of these women do you get it?
I had other points to raise, and we'll raise them when we sit again, because I think we have to sit again. And I can only believe that in the comments there's going to be a lot of things that people want to know, people want to ask. I want to reference some of the work you've done on unpopular opinion. Thank you so much for that work. I was thinking of raising some gossip, but I think we'll do it on another platform or even offline, because Usisi Nsigi Mazwai started off on the platform and then left to create, I think Umoya is her platform, and then you guys took over, and what happened there, just for the sake of history. As we close, people normally want to know, we spoke about readers being leaders. We spoke about how you've read the Bible, you've read the Quran. You constantly have a thirst for knowledge. So if you could please, for the sake of documentation, any books you'd like to recommend that people read besides, let's say, the Bible and the Quran, any video content you'd like to recommend, any maybe music, just to be like, look, if you are in a space where you feel like you're lost and you want to start your journey, at some point I wanted to reference an amazing brother, Sbusiso, Savia the monk, who's under a certain segment of the Hindu faith. And there's conversations we've been having about potentially the cradle of humankind being what we call India today, and how many of the religions branched off from there, from your Jesus to your Buddhas to your... There's just people that are constantly looking to learn and that want to understand and that want to find self. And the multiplicity that you spoke of, the soul, the past memories, current lived experience, and the future memories, and they're trying to make sense of these things. So any recommendations in terms of that type of content that people can go and start their insanity?
Oh, you cut down my list. You cut my list short because you said besides the Bible, and the Bible was the first book I was going to say. Read the Bible with understanding, not religiously.
Sure.
Right. First of all,
read it as any book of literature,
like a novel, like Three Little Pigs.
Sure.
Let me show you an example. Three Little Pigs. Three Little Pigs grow up. Their parents say, no, it's time to grow up now and be yourself, right? So the first little pig takes straw, builds a house of straw. The wolf comes. I huff and I puff and I blow your house down. Straw goes all around. Yeah. They go to the second pig's house. He builds his house with sticks. The wolf comes. I huff and I puff and I blow your house down. The house falls down. And then they go to the third pig's house, built of stone, brick, right? The wolf comes. I huff and I puff and I blow your house down. Huff and I puff and I, and then he went up the roof, down the chimney, into a fire.
Yes.
Right? Children's story. You have a mind, you have a body, and your soul. Right? The triplicity of your being. You're a child. You're a child, you're an adolescent, you're an adult. As a child, you make straw decisions. And the pig life comes, huff and puff, blow your house down. You learn your lesson. You grow to become an adolescent.
Yes.
But your choices are still sticks. Right? The wolf comes, life happens. Uyachola abangani, niqala ukuphuza, niqala ukubhema, nenzani ngishawe esikolweni, nenza ima homework, uyabhanka. You understand? Your sticks are going to break. The pig is going to huff and puff and blow your house down. The wolf. Yeah. Now you're an adult. You've learned. Ufundile. You're supposed to be mature. Supposed to be. And please, underline, supposed to be. We've got 56-year-old, 13-year-olds running around.
Making straw decisions.
Making straw decisions. You're supposed to be mature at this age. Building a house. And when the wolf comes through the chimney, which the wolf comes through your ideas, the top of your head, negative ideas are going to go straight down and disappear because now you are a mature person. Read the Bible like that and see what you find.
Please carry on. Sorry.
Right?
The book recommendations.
First
I wanted to
first
tell a
is the
story, but
Bible.
I've told it before.
The second one is a series of books that is going to be very hard for people to get, but I'm going to say it anyway. Abakalipi Bokhanya Mbekore Theology, Volume 1 to Volume 7. And I'm the author of those books.
Oh, then it won't be hard to find. Thank you.
Next is a series of books called the Medu Neter. Kara Nefer, some American researcher. I enjoyed his books quite a lot. Now when you get to studying books now, Kosiam, there's a Pleiadian agenda. I was just telling him about this morning. There's Emerald Tablets. There's the Kabbalion, the 3 initiates. There's Jesus, the last initiate. There's the Mysteries of Melchizedek. There's a lot of books. But yeah, that's
I
a
hope
few.
you'll send me a list. I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'll
as
do
well.
that. I'll do that.
Music, video.
Music, you're going to be surprised. I'm a Wu-Tang fan.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan, Inspector Deck, RZA, Jizza,
Hip-hop used to be an institution.
Hip-hop used to be, hip-hop's dead now.
It used to be an institution. Now it's used as a tool of distraction.
Hip-hop is dead now. Wu-Tang Clan, Cannibal Ox, Immortal Technique, Last Emperor. That's me. I'm hip-hop.
Old school, about KRS.
KRS.
I know my entry was about Talib Kweli and Mos Def.
Those are the younger boys.
Sure.
The big boys. About Johnny Blaze, I'm hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not raga, not reggae. I listen to a little bit of reggae, but I'm hip hop.
Reggae also has a lot of education, and for people that don't know in South Africa, Maskandi has a lot of education
as well. Yeah. Maskandi, he makes me listen to Maskandi.
Maskandi, yeah.
Yeah, he's gotten me into New Zealand, Amazulu recently. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. Yabo. And siyahuba.
Awafuna Amazulu wena kahle kahle.
Hayi kanjani umama Nkosi yami ngumzulu. Umama umpele, hawo.
Please carry on. Sorry, music.
Umfazi wokuqala kasenza ngakhona uBibi ka Sompisi ugogo wami.
That's dope.
Like direct descendant ugogo kaMamam.
That's dope.
So I cannot say
maybe that gives you a bit of arrogance as well to criticize Zulus.
Yeah, I speak as ngikhuluma ngento yasekhaya.
Sure.
You understand? Usigujana umalume basically.
Sure.
So, but that's besides the point. Hip hop, man, and nomaskandi neingoma zesintu. I love amagwijo.
Okay.
I love amagwijo, I listen to a lot of amagwijo. I listen to imihubelo, amahubo. But Uba Umbuso Khoza, I love his work. Yeah, I love his work. And just on that, he said something. Angazi noma it was on your show, but I came across a clip yakhe athi isizwe sakwaZulu needs a ritual. Kuyogezwa imikhondo. Because until that happens, there's still going to be a whole...
It was definitely here. I was asking him if he believes the Zulu nation or Zulus are violent.
Yeah.
And he was like, most definitely.
And it's not because...
Until there's cleansing.
The nation was forged ngomkhondo.
Yeah.
It's not a nation, it's a militant state. So the people, Bagwazulu, need to go back to their kings. Usaphila uNgolanyama uTembe, usaphila uHlubi, usaphila uMbhele, uMulife, basaphila labantu. The people who call themselves Zulu, they should go back to their own kings. Omunye nomunye ayokhonza kibo. Angithi lenkosi ehleli by neglect. We don't know how he got into that position back then. This is why you have KwaZulu Natal.
Sure. The
only province in the country that has a traditional name and an English name.
A double barrel. It's
double barrel. Because on this side, Baguabo Robert Dan Nabo Shepstein Amakos. This is why every single town there is called Pietermaritzburg, Durban, in
Ladysmith,
Harry
Smith is in Free State.
Port Shepstone, they're all called white names, and then crossing up out Obani, okay,
correct.
You understand? Kwaxhosa, we fucked them up for 100 years.
Richards Bay.
This is why Kwaxhosa, you
so
only
important.
find them in the forts. Fort Beaufort area. You find Abelung Lapo, Fort Banban area, Fort
Alfred.
Port Alfred. They are on Port Elizabeth. They are on the outskirts.
Sure.
Ngoba sabashaya 100 year wars imidushana sabakhahlela kakhulu. We'll talk that history another day. The only nation in South Africa that has never been defeated by the white colonialists for 100 years. And then Sekhukhune came along and beat them for 8 battles. We'll talk about Sandlwana, the one battle that they won. But
jeez, this guy's got anger, man. How are we going to cleanse the spears if they still need to work? No Abba, when we are delela.
ngadlala bakwethu awusiyaxoxa. Yazi-ke isiXhosa kuthiwa kudliwa imbadu. Siyayixoxela nje. So
any video content,
video
documentaries?
content, please watch Penuel. Nangu umuntu engathi-ke I hardly watch TV.
Documentaries. I know there's some documentaries people have
let me say
recommended.
this. I hardly watch TV,
Yeah.
but I'm an Avengers fan.
Okay.
I
Marvel.
follow Marvel fan.
Cinematic universe.
Yeah, from Iron Man 1 all the way. I'm a fanatic. Namanje ngishiya ingane zami zibukele Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Aquaman 1, 2. Ngibafakele yona in a line ukuthi ya babukele Harry Potter. Please, people, watch Harry Potter.
Please explain why you like the Avengers and why you like Harry Potter.
Okay. Human potential. Avengers.
Okay.
Yes, it's manipulated with their tesseracts and their injections and their enhancements, but it's basically human potential. If you focus your consciousness on something long enough, you can master it. We've got 2 bottles of water on the table now. Just for the sake of a quick experiment, I'm going to try and drop one of them with my mind, but it's obviously going to be easier with this one, not with this one. But manje abantu bazothi ngiyathakatha kushow yakho ayithi ngingayenzi. But for scientific understanding, it's going to be easier with chi in my hand to make this bottle move more than this one. You understand? With concentration and focus, I could eventually make this one fall as well. That's the Avengers for you.
Human potential.
Of human potential. It's things that we can bring out from within ourselves and realize, That's the beauty about it. That's why I love it so much. I actually use it as syllabus to teach my students.
I remember sitting with Zamalek Giza, no DJ Sbu, and he was speaking about how Stan Lee stole a lot of the concepts of these comics from African storytellers, from Spider-Man to maybe our Black Panther and those guys.
Because it's initiatic knowledge. You must remember, Stan Lee and Abba, they are initiated into certain secret societies. So they have access to certain knowledge. Not necessarily stole it, but learnt about it and applied it.
Borrowed it and then applied it and told it for the world to...
For the world to know. You must remember, George Herbert Bush in 1986 said the whole world is coming to a point where everyone is going to be initiated, whether you are aware of it or not. And then movies started coming up, concepts started coming up, books started coming out. So now you're hearing people talking about chakras and elevation, and all of that was secret knowledge before the 1990s.
Can I just make a few references? So there's, I forgot the name of the movie, but it's this guy with the rings. It's Chinese
the 10 rings.
knowledge.
Chao Chen and the 10 rings.
There's of course, there's the Scarlet Witch as well. There's the multi-universe of Doctor Strange, which speaks about parallel universes. And Spider-Man has jumped on that as well. And there's a movie which wasn't the greatest, but the concept of a movie called The Eternals with our Angelina Jolie, which speaks about the creators of the universe and the guardians that they send out, and what that means and how that works. I think is important for people that don't know. And once you start doing the links outside of African
it blows you up.
knowledge, you also go into some of the Indian knowledge and you realize some of the borrowings from all of these things. I spoke to Savia the monk, and we spoke about Hanuman, who is the monkey god, or the gorilla god, sorry. And how Hanuman is actually in Hindu texts, as a monkey god.
In Lesotho is called Khiba.
So that's quite fascinating. When you think you're watching Popeyes.
Soko.
Jeez. Anyways,
you understand?
Harry Potter.
Please, Harry Potter. 1 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a world on its own.
Yes, but what about Harry Potter is appealing to you?
Magic.
Okay.
Magic. Everything about magic.
Jordan Peterson tells a story of, for Harry Potter to be able to defeat, and this is the argument with maybe the Avengers, he had to learn to channel some of his darkness.
That's the thing. No, Harry Potter is about Harry Potter and Voldemort, right? The antagonist of the film, the protagonist and the antagonist. They're the same person.
Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
They're the same person. Same person. What they're actually trying to teach you is this. For you to reach your human potential, your highest, you have to defeat yourself. So Clark Kent is Superman's perspective of humanity. So according to Superman, we are Clark Kent, we're clumsy, we're stupid.
Sure.
Right? That's your human level of consciousness, your animal self. If you can elevate that into Superman, you become son of God, a Kryptonian. Tony Stark, arrogant as hell, pompous man, but he spends his life saving other people. So his arrogance, his wealth is all external. On a higher level, he's actually Iron Man. He's actually a hero. But what is a hero? The story about the hero comes from the stories of Hercules, from Horace. The hero is Penuel realizing his full potential and starting to live. And because he's starting to live, other people are going to see him and say, wow, I could do that as well. Then you've saved a whole lot of people from their own darkness.
Abafowethu Langaphandle mentioned Lord of the Rings. I don't know if that's also a reference.
Lord of the Rings is the history of the world and the levels of human consciousness. You've got your orgs, which is Penuel waking up grumpy in the morning, angafuni nokubulisa umntwana. Usayokama toilet. Right? And then you have your Unidiles, your half men, half angels, half elves, That is Penuel when he's actually getting in touch with his feelings and his higher self, And then you have your humans, where now your humans are stuck between this world and that world, which is Penuel indecisive. What do I wear? Do I wear pink or do I wear green? What are people going to say, And then you have your elves, Penuel thinking lofty ideas at his higher consciousness. And then you have your dwarves, Penuel, with his materialistic tendencies. I want this, it's all mine, and hoarding gold in caves. So Lord of the Rings is all a story about you. It's one person, 1,000 people in our Sauron. It's you in your most negative state. So you can watch the whole 3-part movie or read the whole 3-part book. You're reading about yourself and all your states of consciousness. So you are Frodo, discovering yourself. Smeagol is the same Frodo who lost himself while he was trying to find himself.
Okay, let's shut it down. I don't know if you have anything else to close it before we say goodbye to Abahlali. Thank you for coming to visit us, man. It means so much to me. This was meant to happen. Of course, Sizwe Dube wants to take the credit. It's fine. We'll give it to him. But I'm honored, and I look forward to hopefully visiting the farm.
Please.
And I look forward to us chatting some more. I think one of the bookmarks I want to make is I'd like us to go through certain personalities as conversation points like we've done with the movies. We've touched on Uputi. I call him Uputi. Maybe Ubaba Mbuso Khoza. Joshua Maponga. Patrice Lumumba is a professor. Who else is there? Mkhulu Ntsingisa and the Great Empire of Kemet. Who else? Just speak about some of these people that a lot of people are gravitating towards. Maybe mention a Zamalek Giza and your thoughts around them and what they mean and what we can learn and what we can discard along the journeys that people are going through in finding their consciousness. Because I think to what you were saying, it's those 5 questions that we're trying to answer and trying to unlock, I guess, what people would call your third eye in finding the answers to that. The Japanese have the 4 questions or the 4 points that become ikigai to finding your purpose as well. So, yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Give thanks.
Appreciate it.
Ngibongile Mtakaba.
That's a wrap. 10 about ox.
2 hours 50.
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Yo,
Step
step up to the mic, die again.
Oh, you niggas are so old.